I just switched to Ethernet, so this should work. Let's hope this chat loads. Alright, audio works. Thanks, Sean Easton. Aslan, get the hell out of here. I come back. Aslan right away says, shut up, Morge. I'm just updating people, saying I'll be in a minute, which I was roughly, give or take a minute or so. I was. And right away, Aslan's like, shut up, Morge, or should I say Lord? I'm like, come on. First time you're here in a long time, and that's what you say to me. So, I was not late this time. Because, Morge be late? No. You have 1,000, 10,000 dislikes on the stream, says Juan Perret. Well, we won't know about that. No one will find out. It's impossible to know. So, I was not late this time. Simple proof, I was in the chat. You can see me dropping a message at around like 6:30. 6 minutes late, says Anime Devil Hunter. No. You can see me. I was in the chat at 6:30. So, I was in the chat at 6:30. Think about it like this. I was in the chat at 6:30. Therefore, I was not late. Because you all are in the chat, and according to you guys are here on time. So therefore, being in the chat is all it takes to count as showing up. You get what I'm saying? You guys are in the chat, you're like, well, we're on time. Well, I showed up in the chat, therefore I'm on time as well. You see? You see how that works? Koopy Coop says, Morge, don't you have a Morgecast recorded and not posted yet? Yes, Koopy Coop, because I forgot to post it. At this point, it's so late that it's almost not relevant anymore. I talk a little bit about Kaido in it. That's mainly what I'm talking about. Juan Perret says that is not how it works. Oh, what a double standard. So you guys can just show up to chat and be like, well, we're on time. We're early, some of you say. But I show up to chat and it's like, no, this doesn't count. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't know how that works. Gaslighting, lol, says Saliha H. Gaslighting's a great word. I have nothing else to add to that. It's just like, gaslighting's, gaslighting's hilarious. It's not hilarious to do, but it's just funny that, like, nowadays, like, for a long time, there was no word to describe that, right? Like, gaslighting, that became a word that's popular more recently. So for a long time, people would just gaslight people, and there'd be no word for it. It'd just be like, hey, you're doing something, you're manipulating me, or you're lying to me in some way. Now we've got the word gaslight in the popular vernacular. So now it's like, whoa, we know what this is. This is gaslighting. This is a very specific thing that you're doing. All right. So, we're going to do a tier list. We have not done a tier list in a long time. Reason being, I only do tier lists on weeks that we don't have a chapter. And the last couple times, something came up both times, so I couldn't do the tier list. So, it's actually been a long time. First thing live, Morge talks about not being late, says Chinho Wong. Yeah, that's usually how it always happens. Because that's all you guys want to talk about. I show up, everyone's like, late, Lorge. What am I supposed to just ignore it and be like, oh, this isn't happening? I'll just talk about my usual stuff, talk about the Islands tier list that we're going to be doing. The Poop Man says, gatekeep is a stupid one, though. Poop Man, way to gatekeep words that we can have in the popular vernacular. Excellent example of why gatekeeping should exist as a word, because it describes people like you who are trying to gatekeep new words. All right? Koopy Coop says, bring back Morgecast. Koopy Coop, I have half a mind to remove you from VOD. You got away with keeping your mod status for 1 week, and now you think that you could just have free raid. All right? Enough about the Morgecast, all right? That's our deal. You get the mod status, but that means you can no longer talk about or raise rumors about the Morgecast or what I have or have not posted. Chinho Wong, stop supporting Koopy Coop. Where's Wino Report? Wino Report, it's entirely O'Hara's fault. I take no responsibility for it. It's exclusively O'Hara's fault that we have not done the Wino Report. 100%. Alright. So I'm just scanning the islands that we've got here. So this was the first time. Take a look at what we've got here. So this was the first time. Alright, let me introduce the concept of the stream. There are a lot of One Piece islands out there, right? A lot of One Piece islands out there. I did not get all of them. This is, by the way, the first time that I had to create the tier list myself. Usually there's a go-to template that I can kind of just pick from, right? So like, best One Piece villains. Somebody's already made a template for that. This time I had to do it myself. And you can notice that the images are beautiful, crystal clear, because these are hand-picked by me. For some reason, we have 2 Shells towns. That's also because I fucked up a little bit. And I don't really know how to just get rid of one. I don't even know where to really put it. So we're going to be ranking Shellstown twice. That's about it, though. Aside from that, it's 100% perfect. Well, the other downside is I didn't remember every island in one piece. So I was kind of just like, quickly, while you guys were yelling at me for being late, I was making this, right? So, well, that's not 100% true. I was kind of making a couple changes to this. I made this earlier today. But main point being, this is what we've got. Now, what's interesting about this tier list is I am actually going to be democratic to start with because I don't know exactly what a best islands tier list means. Because it could mean a couple different things, right? Aslan, thanks a lot, says, I swear to God. I was like, what are you trying to type here, man? He said, ISTG. I swear to God, if you don't put Alabasta in bottom tier. What? It's just a desert with buildings. We're talking about the islands, the island's looks, not the ark's overall rating. All right, so despite Aslan's brazen rudeness, right, he does bring up a good point. All right, so Aslan comes back swinging after being absent from streams for over two to 3 years. All right, a long, long time. He says, we're talking about the island's looks, not the ark's overall rating. So Aslan makes a very bold assumption about what we are rating here. I actually don't know. That is actually what I was about to bring up to you guys, the democratic process I was about to raise. So I don't know what we're rating the islands on. I'm going to be frank. I don't actually know what we're rating the islands on yet. We're going to figure it out. There's a few ways we could do it. Aslan thinks that it's based on the island's looks. I have half a mind to to just go with that and say we're just rating it on looks. But at the same time, that means that there's some islands that don't look that good, like in Alabasta, that are actually pretty cool. I think Alabasta is an interesting island with a lot going on there. So are we just basing it on looks? What are we basing it on? Like, I don't think Wano looks that crazy. It's kind of just like, what do they call it? Edo period Japan? I don't actually know my Japan history that well. Old school Japan. Medieval times Japan. That's how we call it, right? So it's like medieval times Japan. That's all Wano is. But I think Wano is still a cool island with a lot of lore, history, variety, just a very well fleshed out world within a world, I guess you would say, right? So I think Wano is really, like, compared to a cooler location, like, let's say, if I'm going just by looks, then I would say that, like, what's an example? Like Weatheria. I have Weatheria right here. I think just going by looks, Weatheria is pretty cool. Like, let's zoom in. Do you see Weatheria? How big does it look on your guys' screen? It looks like a beautiful place. Weatheria looks really cool. For those of you who are casual One Piece fans, Weatheria is where Nami was during the time skip. Weatheria is really cool. It's like Sky Island, but it's got a rainbow, and the rainbow's in the shape of a circle, and there's balloons, and it looks like a bit of a ferret or like a windmill, and it's just a very nice, magical little place. It floats around on a bubble. Beautiful Sky Island, all right? But are we going to say that's a better location than Wano? Maybe. We haven't decided the parameters yet. So why do I keep closing out of chat? Let me pull this up. Stop being islandist. All right, hold on. Mario Castillo says, looks, culture, history, and stuff like that. So that's another example. Babtron says, I think you should make me mod. Babtron, with the amazing $2 donation, thinks that he can get into the highly, highly classified pay-to-mod tier. I don't know about that, Babtron, but you're on your way. I'll remember that. Besides that, so, we've got a lot going on. There's a lot of ways we could do it. So the suggestions we've got at the moment are looks, right, culture, history, stuff like that. Troplix said get adblock Morge. I think I have adblock. Why is it not blocking these ads? I don't know. I swear I have adblock though. Anytime I go to like one of those news sites nowadays, they tell me like, hey, you need to disable adblock or you can't read this news site. I'm like, okay, cool. Then I guess I'm not reading this news site. It's actually really bold of people to be like, it makes me actually a little bit angry that sites nowadays are putting up things that like, hey, we notice you have adblock on. Could you please take it off? It's like, just because you said that? No. Just because you said that, I'm never coming back here again. How dare you come to me and try and tell me to use adblock? I'll use my site however the way I want to use it, all right? Anyway, please don't use adblock when you watch Morge videos, all right? Make sure to turn those ad blockers off when you watch Morge videos. Also, like the stream. Please like the stream. Who remembers me getting really angry about likes earlier this week? Huh? All of that anger that I had You know what happened with it? Nothing. The video, nobody cared. I mean, people were, my viewers, you guys obviously were very into it and were like, yeah, more just getting really angry. But the video, it died in the algorithm. So it didn't get like, a million views or whatever. I was really, really angry. And I was angry because I feel like most of the things that I was talking about were not it was frustrating because I know a lot of YouTubers did talk about, this is me being serious here. So a lot of YouTubers did talk about hey, dislikes are bad, getting rid of the dislikes is a bad decision. So a lot of people tweeting about that stuff like that. It made me really angry because most people view it in the short term, which is just oh, they got rid of a feature that we liked. That's shitty. Fuck YouTube, etc., etc. This is protect corporations, etc., right? But the full scope of what removing dislikes will do for YouTube as a platform, everybody is severely, severely, severely underestimating it. It's actually really, really huge. And I'm not lying with what I was saying about small content creators and how it affects this. Because if you know anything about generally how... I went into examples in the video, but if you've read anything, business-wise, marketing-wise, etc., you know how much of a difference those type of things make. It's actually... YouTube is straight up lying when it's claiming things that we did the research, we saw that it doesn't hurt small channels that much. It made me so angry that the amount that this is going to negatively impact small channels in the future, right? So not just user experience, because I rely on dislikes a lot, right? User experience, I rely on dislikes a lot. I never dislike videos myself because I don't really care that much, but I use it heavily to be able to track any sort of video that's how to, right? I do a lot of stuff, getting more into filmmaking, etc., right? I really, really need to know whenever information is valid and correct, or if a video essay is worth watching, or if a tutorial is worth watching, etc., etc. Those things are really, really important for me. And for everybody in general, you'll slowly start realizing that as the next few months progress. But in particular, if you're a small creator, I think it is terrible. I'm trying to think back for myself, my own start. One of the things that really helped me in my own start when I was small was not just that I got a lot of positive comments. It's that, it is bragging, I guess, but it's just a fact. My videos when I was starting, all the small analysis videos I was doing pure analysis videos at the time, very, very, very high likes. I got pretty much no dislikes ever on my videos when I was very small. That was one of the big things that made me feel really good as a small creator coming up, that anybody who comes to my videos can see that the like-dislike ratio, it stands out, right? It stands out. It shows that this little video essay that I made, that I put a lot of time into, is worth watching. When you're on the grind from 0 to 100 subs, from 100 to 1,000 subs, that stuff is really, really big. So it just made me angry that what YouTube claimed it's doing it for, it upset me that a lot of bigger creators are not talking about the specifics behind it. They're just saying, oh, YouTube got rid of dislikes, that sucks, that's shitty, and stuff no, talk about the actual ramifications. Because if the actual ramifications get spread or talked about more, that's going to have a bigger impact because people will be more riled up as to exactly why what YouTube is doing is actually a severe problem that affects a lot of people really, really negatively. So that was just frustrating because I feel so many people address the issue, but kind of just in a very surface level way. I tried to get it out as fast as, if I had more time, a full week, 2 weeks or something like that, I could have done a lot of research and statistics on how much these sort of reviews, ratios, things like that affect small creators' viewership. But, it was more speed is of the essence, so I just typed it out really, really, really fast, my thoughts, and then just recorded something. So I just got my thoughts out really quick and recorded something. But it wasn't enough. It is what it is. Let me respond to who's been talking so far. Gabe C says, islands should be ranked on culture, architects, politics, weather, and general quality of life aspects. Oh, I forgot that's what we were talking about. Islands. So, they should be talking about culture, architecture, politics, weather, and general quality of life aspects. So, Gabe C has the other angle that we could be talking about. The other angle, I'm thinking so far in terms of two broad categories, okay? So, category number one, I think there's going to be three categories that we're going to kind of vote between, and it might ultimately be a mix. Gabe C, I get the sense, is talking more so about what would be the nicest, best island to live in, all right? What's the best island to live in? That's a cool way that we can look at the island tier list. So I've thought about that. We could just be rating what's the best island we want to live in, right? Connor Rock, so we'll get back to that in a minute. Connor Roberts says, I think we should go with looks and culture / world building creativity of the island's concept should also play a part. So that's the other end of the spectrum, which is what's the creativity behind the island, right? So one is what's the nicest to live in. The other is the creativity, like world building wise, conceptually, etc., right? And this itself can be broken down into two separate categories, which is like, the full scope of the thing, like how creative is Oda overall with this island? For example, Alabasta, which was shit on earlier on as being just a desert, that's one of the most well-developed cultures overall, right? It's one of the most well-developed in terms of the world building behind that island. However, in terms of concept, it's a relatively basic island. An island like even Torino Kingdom, right, the bird island, that's much more fantastical than Alabasta. So what's better, right? Are we going purely by the concept? So option A, we can go kind of by what's the best island to live in? What would be the coolest place that you could live in, right, or visit? Live in or visit, let's say something like that. You don't have to live there, but what's the coolest place? If you could go to one island in one piece, what would it be? So that's option one. Option two is kind of what is the most developed island creatively, in terms of a whole? So, the world building and the concept, all of that stuff. And then finally, just what's the coolest island? What's conceptually the coolest islands that Oda's come up with? Like an Ennis Lobby type situation, or Torino Kingdom, or just a whole cake island. So there's different ways we could play it. So let me take a look a little bit at some more opinions. Aslan says, let's do power scaling 1v1s. Naruto greater than Luffy, debate Morge. I have half a mind to remove Aslan as a mod. Sean Easton says, to bypass ad blocker, go to the webpage, right-click, inspect. Oh my god. Sean Easton's he knows his stuff. All right. Right-click, inspect. This opens DevTools. Find the HTML code blocking your view and delete that. Good content, man. Thank you, Sean Easton. Unlike Aslan, I've never regretted a day that you've been mod, except for those initial days. You didn't help me with my tech issues. But thank you. Riri says, just do what feels right. No, this is not some weird anything goes mishmash of a tier list. The tier lists that we do are 100% based on facts and logic. All right. Dom says, heavenly tribute to a Celestial Dragon Morge. When's the Film Z stream? Maybe we could do that this Saturday, and I don't mean that as a joke. I'll put up a post. We could do that this Saturday. Because now I have the good Ethernet. You guys have seen? I've got the good Ethernet now, so in theory, nothing should go wrong. I have to get it out of the way. I say get it out of the way because I don't want to do it. So I have to get it out of the way. I have the good Ethernet. I'm not doing anything Saturday morning as far as I know. So I could do the Film Z. As much as I hate to admit it, I could just do it. All right, we're going to do a mod. Not a mod. Sorry, I got mods on the mind. We're going to do a poll. Geography is everything. That's right, says Stephen Brickeno. I agree. Miriam says, hey, what's up? Hello, am I late? Anyway, Whole Cake better be up there purely for the food, of course. I feel like Whole Cake is going to be up there no matter what, because it's kind of just a cool island. It'd be fun to live there because there's food. It would be, highly ranked in terms of the creativity concept style. And then, even in the world building and lore, it's pretty good. All right, let's do a poll. Do option one, the third option. We're going to do a poll. How do we rate islands? So the options are going to be, I would like to go there. I'm not going to say I would like to live there. You can interpret this however you want. You can stay for a week, a month, a year, forever. You can go for a day, but you would like to go there, all right? I'm not going to say live there because maybe there's some islands that you would really love to go to, but maybe wouldn't love to live at. I would love to go to Ennis Lobby just to check it out, that huge waterfall area, but I wouldn't love to live there because why would you? What were the other options? Oh, yeah. Overall creativity. So world building plus, that kind of encompasses, right? World building meaning culture, culture, lore, how well thought out the island's geography is, things like that. Alabasta has many cities, for example. Wano has its different regions. Let's say world building plus concept, all right? So world building plus concept, so world building, think of that as the culture, architecture, geography, etc., right? culture, architecture, geography, all that stuff. Imagine as though, how well did Oda craft this city, right? This island overall. And then concept being the creativity behind it, right? So Sky Island, it's in the sky, right? That's pretty cool. World building plus concept. Let's say just world building, just concept. I think that makes sense. Yeah, just world building, just concept. Do these options make sense to everyone? If I see any no's in chat, I'm going to explain again. Yes, I need to know if these options make sense. Some of you guys are slow. Some of you guys are really, really slow. You guys understand concept, right? Concept means how cool is it just as an idea? Like Zoe, they're on an elephant. That's cool. Skypiea, they're in the sky. That's cool. Witheria, it's like Skypiea, but a little happier and more fun and, a little cuter. Saboti, get it, right? Cool concept, big trees, mangroves, the bubbles, right? You all get it? Someone's saying no. Some people are saying no. All right, everyone gets it. They all get it. Everyone gets it. All right, let's create this poll. Oh, wait, I gotta pin it. It's been a while since I've done these polls. I've forgotten how you do it. Pin message. Yeah, see, Whitney says, lol, Ward, some of you are dumb. I should say most. But I'll leave it at some. Alright? Yeah, concept means cool, says Sejay Naka 101. I should have just said that. How cool is it? Alright, we're going to find out in a minute. Besides that, let me fill you in on the islands that we've got on the roster today while you all are voting, while I'm waiting on that. Make sure you vote carefully, alright? Think wisely with your vote right now, because this is not a joke poll. This is one that is actually going to dictate the rest of the stream, alright? Yeah, I'm missing a lot of islands. I think I hit all the major ones, though. Okay, I'll explain. Let's do it in order. Let me see how the poll went, and then I'll explain what islands we got. All right, everyone got their votes in? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Overall creativity. Okay. All right, cool. What? 0 votes for just world building? 0 votes for just concept? I did not think I would see that. It's really rare that you see just 0 votes for an option. I think even back, when we would vote, like, what's the best devil fruit? I think I would never see, like, 0 votes for even something like just, like, things that people hated, like the jacket fruit. Like, it's very rare that you see 0 votes for some options. Makes me think that this was rigged, but I didn't rig it. So unless one of you guys figured out how to rig it, then I guess we're running with this. All right, so overall creativity. All right, good stuff. That makes it for a more fun poll, right? Or more fun tier list. Easier to discuss different variables. So here's what we got on the docket. If I'm forgetting anything major, then this is where you fill me in, all right? Okay, so we got Shellstown twice. I started with, you could call this, do we call this Goa Kingdom or just Dawn Island? I don't know. Let's just say, okay, it's the full island, right? It's tricky because there's so much to Luffy's home island. There's the Great Terminal. There's the mountains. There's a lot to Luffy. Let's say just Luffy. No, it's the full island. Yeah, it's the full island, right? Because we're rating it on the overall creativity of it, okay? So Dawn Island. Then you got Shellstown. And then right around here, so you notice right after Shellstown, I skipped to Whiskey Peak. That's because I realized that most of the East Blue Islands, because I could have gone through, Syrup Village, what's Nami's village called? I want to say Kokoyashi Village? I might be wrong on that. Is it called Can someone confirm? What's Nami's village called? What's Nami's island? I even skipped Gaimon's island. I skipped the island of Strange Creatures. Island of Strange Creatures. What's Nami's island called? Is it Kokoyashi Village? Am I thinking something totally different? Yeah, it is Kokoyashi. Yeah. Kokoyashi Village. I think the full thing is like an archipelago that's got a different name for it. Yeah. But you know what I mean. I don't know why I blanked on that. But anyway, Nami's Island. I skipped Nami's Island. I skipped Logtown. You know why? Because I was just like, we're just going to put most of those in the same tier, so, because there's not that much to the East Blue Islands. It's when you hit the Grand Line that things get pretty interesting. So from Shellstown, we skipped right. Shellstown shouldn't even be here, but it's here twice, right? By that logic, Shellstown has no reason being here, but we got it a couple times. So Shellstown is here. But after that, we get to Whiskey Peak, Little Garden, Drum Kingdom, Alabasta. Wait, am I stupid? Where's Giant Sky? Okay, Giant Sky Pier down here for some reason. Giant Sky Pier over here. Water 7, Ennis Lobby, Thriller Bark, Saboti, Punk Hazard. Then I remembered that there's some time skip islands, so Torino Kingdom, Kurigana Kingdom, Amazon Lily, Weatheria, Kamagabaka Kingdom, Baltigo, Boyne Archipelago. Then we're back to the New World, so we got Zoe, wait, did I forget Dressrosa? Oh no, did I forget Dressrosa? Shit. Alright, Shellstown will double as Dressrosa. So Shellstown number 2, this one represents Dressrosa. Alright, because I'm not going to edit the tier list on stream. Alright, so this one represents Dressrosa. Okay. Then we got Wano, then we got Whole Cake. So Wano, Whole Cake, Dressrosa. Alright, so everyone remember, this Shellstown represents Dressrosa. This Shellstown just represents Shellstown. Is there anything else that I forgot about? Baratier is not an island. You get stupid. Baratier is not an island. Fishman Island's not there? Oh no, did I forget Fishman Island too? How is that possible? I swear I got... Fuck. Alright. The Shellstown represents... Alright, the Shellstown over here represents Fishman Island. So this one's Fishman Island, this one's Dressrosa. It's on, you guys just remember which one's which, okay? I'm not editing the tier list again. I'm not getting any more images, alright? That would slow down the stream too much. Alright? Punk Hazard? I already got Punk Hazard. Anything else? Green Bit, we'll count that in, count Green Bit as part of Dressrosa. Anuj Agrawal says O'Hara. No, O'Hara got destroyed by the world government and erased from history, remember? So we don't have to put that on the tier list. Fuck, I really did forget a lot of these. Okay, we could make another one represent O'Hara, but that means that we gotta take one of these bad boys off the list. Baptron says can we power scale the islands. I don't even know what that means. Does that mean take the strongest characters from each island? I mean, Wano would win. Wano would win, Zoe would do really well, so would... Amazon Lily actually wouldn't, because only Boa Hancock is strong. For power scale the islands... Quick power scaling the islands, alright? Because that's actually a fun idea. I'll just do it real quick right here. Wano. Dressrosa is not that... Zoe is stronger than Dressrosa. Dressrosa is probably stronger than Fishman Island, unless you count Jinbei. Oh, Whole Cake. I forgot about Whole Cake. Whole Cake's got... Yeah, Whole Cake is stacked. Wait, do we count Kaido and shit for Wano? Because then that's just not really fair. But I'm counting Big Mom for Whole Cake. You know what? We're not going to power scale the islands. It derails it too much. Terrible idea, Baptron. This is why you'll never be a mod. Gauss Rifle says, where's the One Piece Island? That we've never been there. Sniper Island? No, that's... This is a serious tier list. Long Ring, Long Island. God damn, I forgot a lot of islands. Also, the terrible part is, fuck, guys. One of these was Dressrosa, one of these was Fishman Island. Now they're mixed up. We're never going to be able to tell the difference. Shit, this is what it must be like having, like, if you give birth to twins, you probably mix them up all the time. I have no idea which one's which. Which one was, who paid attention? Which one was Dressrosa, which one's Fishman Island? It's very important that we remember this. Alright, I'm just going to take a wild gamble. Let's say this was Dressrosa. Whew, I hope we got that right. Otherwise this whole tier list will be fraudulent. Impel Down, Mihawk Island. I actually remembered Mihawk's Island, Kurigana Island. I actually got that. I'm not counting Elbaf. I'm not counting Marishawa. Marishawa's not really an island, you know? Marishawa's it's the entire red line. It's like at the top of the red line. Karate Island... Shoot, who was from Karate Island? Was there a Karate Island? I don't really know. I feel like there was a Karate Island. I'm thinking of Idea, but Idea is not really from... What about Windmill Island, Raijin Island? Okay, you know what? We forgot some islands. All right? We're dealing with what we've got. I'm not doing this anymore. We've got enough islands. Juan Pret says he put Karagana, but not Fishman Island. Yes, I did. I said this one represents Fishman Island, this one represents Dressrosa, so I don't know what you're talking about. All right, we're just going to start ranking. All right? Let's start with Whole Cake. That's a good one. How did Whole Cake end up all the way up here? Doesn't matter. I moved him around while I was tier listing. All right, power scaling. So, Whole Cake Island. I feel like this goes straight in S. I feel like Whole Cake goes straight in S as one of the best islands in the series. Right? What do we feel about Whole Cake? God Valley's his life. We've never fucking seen God Valley. We've seen a silhouette of God Valley from Sengoku. How would we even rate that? Kids Hideout? Yeah, a classic island. Kids Hideout. Who doesn't remember Kids Hideout? Calamari says, forgot some islands. Phantom Greyfire says, miss Super Chat. Babtron, I call him Babtron even though that's not his real name. Babtron says, eating rice and enjoying Morge Monday. Hashtag Babthoughts. Hashtag Babthoughts? What the fuck? Yeah, it's definitely an S, right? Whole Cake is a quick S. I don't even have to put a poll for it. Okay, Wano. I think Wano's a tricky one. Because you could look at Wano two ways. Alright, so Wano's going to be a poll. Wano, you can look at as either the... How many tiers do I even have in this? S, A, B, C, D? Seems right. Wano, you could look at either as the most fleshed out individual island Oda's ever done, in terms of, its lore, its locations, culture, etc. I think Wano might be the most fleshed out. Or you could just look at it as kind of like one of the more straightforward islands. There's nothing that crazy about Wano, It's mostly just like, medieval times Japan, as I said. Whole Cake Island is mid Disney ripoff. No, there's not really... There's no, single Disney movie island that looks like Whole Cake, Whole Cake really is... It's just a giant cake. I think it's similar to Disney. I get it. It's got the Alice in Wonderland vibes. But it's, Morge forgot Onigashima. No, we count that as Wano, alright? Look, we count that as Wano. Miss Super Chat again. You should include animals as well. You're talking about Rusakena? Oh, animals in terms of the rating of the... the rating of the islands. Alright, you guys can interpret it how you want. That's the best type of tier list. So you guys can interpret however you want to judge, I suppose, what makes for the most creative island. So animals, yeah, we can do animals. Whole Cake had homies. I don't know if you want to count the homies. Yeah, Disney movie island. I think Whole Cake's just an easy S. At the end of the stream, we will be voting on the best island in One Piece. I'm actually really interested in that vote because I think I would have a really hard time. I think very often I come into these polls kind of having in my own head what I think is the best. I already kind of know for myself what I think the best arc is, in my opinion, right? We've done the arc. What I think the best villain in the series is, what I think the saddest backstory is, what I think the best devil fruit is. I think I very often come in already being well, I know my favorite. With this, I actually don't know. I don't know what I would say is, I think my favorite island in the series, because Oda just has so many awesome concepts. It's easy to forget just how there's no world in manga guaranteed, and I think, I don't know, in terms of broader fantasy fiction, right, I think Oda does get zanier in terms of the concepts that he has than even broader fantasy epic fiction, right? You're not going to find islands like these or locations like these in most fantasy epics. They're generally going to be more grounded locations than this. So, I don't know. Oda might have the most... Discworld's pretty cool, but that's a little different, right? I think Oda might have the coolest locations, maybe not the most fleshed out world in any story, but I think definitely, if you just look at the variety of... Wait, let me check Wano in the meantime. If you look at the variety of things that he's got going on, right, it's just insane. It's just absolutely insane, the variety of ideas that he comes with. Crazy, crazy ideas for islands. You go from Zou to Fishman Island to Skypiea, Whole Cake Island. Oh, wow, what is going on? No, something's up. This is impossible. Are you kidding? What? Is the poll rigged? No, I literally did not rig it. I don't know how to rig it. I literally do not know how to rig these polls. I genuinely do not know how to rig these polls. That's why I was saying it was strange earlier, too. Let me try it again. Alright, so let's try... Okay, let's just try something simple. Poll rigged? Yes, definitely. Did I spell definitely right? Yeah. Oh, let's try this. Oh, I just needed to reload it? I just needed to reload the poll? Ah, fuck. Alright. Well, how do I get back to the poll? Maybe if I, let's go back a little bit. It still says 100%. Alright, let's try one refresh. Oh, there we go. There we go. But then there's no B's. No B's or C's or D's. That seems suspicious too. Alright, what if I refresh it one more time? Okay, that didn't work. What the fuck? Okay, did anyone vote B? Is it possible that no one voted B or C or D? Is that possible? Why? What do I get out of rigging this poll? I told you I have no preference. I'm serious. If I rigged the poll, I would... How do I say this? The way I rig polls is I see the result and I just pick a different result that I want. You guys know this. That's how I rig polls. I don't know how to, like, actually physically rig polls. Is this totally not Mark? Is that the real totally not Mark? Is there any way to know that? Gauss Rifle says why the more polls will fail. Is this the real totally not Mark? I don't actually know. There only was some way to confirm it. I have bigger things to worry about than whether or not that's the real totally not Mark. Right now, the integrity of all Morge tier lists are being put into question. What if I refresh one more time? What the fuck? Alright, how did this poll turn out? This one that I just did. William Joel says, it's rigged, I voted B, lol. Can we change the language? It's not rigged, it's faulty. It's not rigged. Oh, you know what we could do? We could just do the poll through YouTube. We can do the polls through YouTube. So I can create the poll here. I can make the poll here. Hold on, let me open this. Whoa. Can I copy this message? What the fuck? What were the results of this? First, let me see this. Alright. This is not my fault, I swear. I swear. Alright, let's try it here. No, we don't have to try a different website. We can do it here. Yes. Hello? Yeah. Alright, let's do this. This is just a test. Oh, I swear I put a poll just into the YouTube chat. How come the poll didn't appear in the YouTube chat? Oh, there we go. Alright. Okay, so we could just do the polls through the YouTube chat, but the thing is that with the polls through the YouTube chat, it makes it worse for people who watch the VOD later, right? People who watch the full stream later, because you can't see the polls come up through the YouTube chat. I guess you can because you can see my display. So I guess it's fine. But it's not as cool. I like the straw polls better. Alright, did I miss any chats in the meantime? William Joel says it's rigged. I voted B for it. Yep, I remember you said that. We're past that. It's Mark. It's totally Mark. How would I even know that? I don't believe it. Mark, say something only you would say. Too bad I don't know you well enough to be able to have a good test of that. But, I don't know. I'm sure there's something. Vapor Babe says, hey Morge, I already recommended Toriko, but I'll insist one more time for the epic world building and outlandish locations. Who told me something about Toriko recently? JD Legend told me something about Toriko recently. JD Legend told me that... See, my complaint about Toriko is like, I don't want to read a series that makes me hungry. Right? I don't want to read a series if I'm reading it and I'm like, oh, fuck, now I want some food. And that's not, I don't say that as a joke, that's like a legitimate thing. Like, I don't want to read a series where it's just like page after page of like food and people cooking food. It actually, it would bother me. I would get hungry. So, what was the thing that JD told me? I'm trying to remember. He told me that the manga is not actually about that, though. So, I don't know. I don't know if the manga is actually about that. So, maybe I'll give Toriko a try. But I also heard that it had a bad ending. So, I don't know about that. Alright, where were we at besides that? Miss Super Chats, I think you forgot Long Ring, Long Island, you silly goose. I know I forgot Long Ring, Long Island. But it's too late now. Forget about it. Okay, so here's how we're going to do it. Wait, is there a simpler way to do polls that people are explaining? It is real, totally not Mark. Oh, it's totally Mark? Oh, I see. Okay. So it's not that guy. Yeah, we'll do the poll. Alright. So let's do the poll this time for Wano for real. Yeah, I'm making it. No, I'm not making a new tier list. Alright, so I gotta end this poll. I haven't used YouTube polls in a bit because I prefer the straw polls. Alright, let's find out where Wano's gonna land. Wano. S. A. B. C. You can only do 4 options? Oh my god. God damn it. Alright. Well, actually, let's just do a tier list with only 4 options then. That's it. We'll just, we can't change that, so we'll just change this. Lead row. Alright, SABC. I'm going to change this color to make it more vibrant. Alright. You know what? Let's make this blue. No, that looks weird. That looks weird. It was fine with what it was before. Alright. So, poll rig. I gotta look at this that says poll rig. Definitely 100%. Fuck. Alright. Where were we at? Did I just close my YouTube chat? God damn it. God damn it. Gotta wait for this to pop out again. You know a word that I hate, but I think applies here, is scuffed. Stupid phrase, but I can see why it would come into use once in a while. Such as right now. This stream is definitely scuffed. I hope the poll went through. Did it go through? This is fucked up. How come you guys can see chat right now, but I can't see chat right now? I'm the one who's streaming. Alright, Wano goes in S, it looks like. Okay. S, but here's the thing. Here's the logic. Alright, and I don't say this as a joke. Alright? Samuel Hawks says keep D, get rid of S. No, every tier list needs an S tier. That's stupid. You always start at S tier, and then you work your way down. Samuel Hawks, is this your first tier list? You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Alright, so Wano got in to S tier, but the thing is... that's not quite how it works, right? So that means that the majority, it would essentially, because it only got 47% votes for S. So it would really round down to about A tier. You know what I mean? And I've explained this to you guys before on stream, but this is kind of how I'm trying to get the right gauge of where the thing falls in terms of general public opinion. So it's not just who got the most votes, because it's like, all right, imagine it like this, all right? Don't call me dictator, just listen to me for a moment, okay? Give me a second of your time, all right? Listen. So imagine there's 3 tiers, all right? 3 tiers. And like a third of people say it goes in the top tier, a third of people say it goes in the bottom, a third of people say it goes in the middle, okay? That means that overall general public opinion has that thing somewhere around the middle, and that's what I'm trying to get it to. Even if maybe the top tier or the bottom tier actually got like a little more, like let's say it's like 34%, like, you know, like 34%, and then like, I don't know, like 32 or something like that, right? Even if that doesn't really add up. 34, 33, that adds up? Yeah, 34, 33, right? Still, at the end of the day, it's not like most people wanted it at the top tier. At the end of the day, it's going to average out to about the middle tier. So that's how I try to do it. I try to be maximum fairness. I don't say that as a joke. That's legitimately what I believe is the right thing. So we're going to put this into A tier because that's where most people would like to see it at the end of the day. You get what I'm saying? It kind of averages out to there. Whereas with whole cake, it was like overwhelmingly top tier. Although whole cake we didn't do a poll, so it wasn't rigged. All right, so it's going to go in A tier. Let me see you guys cry about it. Rig poll, shake my head. How am I gonna rig a YouTube poll? How can I do that? Yeah, you're right. It's just maths. Says Tudant loves you, but that's a good way to introduce a new A+ tier because it's the middle between A and S here. I just explained. We only have 4. YouTube will only give me 4 options. That's why straw poll is so great. Except straw poll is rigged today through no reason, like through nothing of my own doing. I'm fucking serious. I don't know how to rig straw poll. I didn't even know how to disable ad block till Sean Easton told me. I would never rig a poll because I find it more fun to do the rigging myself personally when I see a result and then just pick something different. Fair, that's fair. All right, good stuff. All right, what about Zoe? I think Zoe's a difficult one. William Joel says Mr. Electoral College. Yeah, there we go. All right. It's so rare you guys are nice to me. Usually you guys are mean. All right. Usually you guys will be like, oh, Morge, that makes no sense. We can't do math. Don't try and explain things to us. We don't want to listen. That's usually how it goes. That's usually what I hear from you guys. Why are people still complaining about Wano? I know it equals Japan 2.0, but it's not like we put it in S tier. We put it in A tier. So why are you still upset? Just put it already. You already got the result you wanted. Oh, Miss Super Chat by Anime Devil Hunter. What makes Death Note so good? Isn't that good? Oh, that's a good question. All right. This is going to sound like a really, really, really newbie anime take. All right? Because it is. But Death Note, probably to this day, it's not my favorite anime. Like, I'm never going to rewatch that series. But probably in terms of, like, peak enjoyment, might have been Death Note for me, for an anime. All right? I don't really count series that, like One Piece and stuff like that. That was, like, actual peak enjoyment. Because now I count One Piece as, like, a manga that I really enjoy. I've stopped, like, counting One Piece anime. I think in general, like most series that I experience more as a manga than an anime, I count those in the manga category. So let's say like primarily an anime experience. For me, peak enjoyment was Death Note. Here's the reason. So Death Note really, I think in my opinion and in most people's opinions, it falls apart partway through. I don't think it falls apart. It doesn't even fall apart. It just kind of isn't nearly as strong and kind of people mostly don't really like the direction it ended up going. I'm not going to spoil too much on it, but I don't think it's like a bad ending. Like, I think that it's not like one of those endings where it's like, oh, this wasn't planned, this clearly they fucked everything up, etc. I think it just wasn't... The final conflict that we got was maybe not the conflict that everybody was really interested in and kept you hooked. But, you know, Death Note was one of those early formative animes for me, one of the first ones that I watched. And definitely the first one that I watched that wasn't like, you know, Naruto, Bleach, One Piece type thing. Like, not one of the big 3 shonen things, right? So, Death Note, I'll say, you asked what's the appeal of Death Note. I think Death Note, trying to think of a similar, let's say, American show or a similar anime. Maybe if you've seen Code Geass, it's maybe a little bit similar to that. I mean, not even a little bit. A lot of people draw comparisons to it. But Death Note, I guess, very, very, very much so, more so on the cerebral side. If you wanted to really talk it up, you would say it's like a long-term chess game between two hyper-intelligent characters. I have not rewatched Death Note in a long time, so maybe everything I'm saying is kind of stupid, because maybe if I rewatched it now, I would be like, oh, this series is just dumb, or I don't think as highly of it. But for young high school me, that was watching Death Note, I was like, this series is the shit. Lots of twists and turns. I think very, very good in terms of tension and suspense. Very dark concept. And yeah, just I think the long-term back and forth between the protagonist and antagonist, and just the different little mind games, strategies, tricks that they try on each other, to one person a criminal to try to keep doing what he's doing, the other person a detective trying to solve a case of like a nearly unstoppable killer. I think really, really, really great premise for the series. Really, really, really great execution and way of keeping the plot moving and keeping you kind of on your toes and really hooked to find out what the next, big development is, basically, or what the next move in the game is. I think, at least for the first half of the series, again, this was how I viewed it in high school. Maybe it has not aged that well, and maybe I wouldn't view it the same way if I watched it now as an adult, but that's how I felt when I first watched it. As for is it that good, I think, as far as I remember, I really liked the first half. I thought the first half was that good. Again, I don't know if I'd view it that same way if I watched it now. Alright, what else did I miss? Phantom Greyfire, super on top of things today. Thanks, dude. Oh wait, I gotta respond to Phantom Greyfire on email. You emailed me something. I'm sorry, I gotta check that. And I think you sent me that like last week, so I'm sorry about that. I'll get back to you. Christian McCurdy says, did he say he didn't know how to disable ad block? Not the way that Sean Easton explained it. I know how to disable ad block, just not the way that... Listen, alright, I'll just take the L. I'm not going to explain that. Part here says, make them all a different blue to represent the north, south, west, and east blues. No, not really. That's another level of tier rating. We're not doing that. Zoe greater than Juana, says Kushin. Alright, I think I got this one from Phantom. Dictator. Sounds like a forgotten Big Mom Child from Gauss Rifle. Haha. Alright, I think we're caught up. George Brown says, what do you think of Samurai Champloo? I haven't watched it. A lot of people say that... I think everybody says that L was smarter than Light at the end of the day. I'm just like, nah, come on. They were equal. Leave it at that. They were equal. People get too much into kind of like, I think L was working with a severe disadvantage, etc. But like, it's just, they were portrayed to be equal, I think. I think that was the point. William Joel says, wait, am I going too far up? Yeah, Will Joel says Electoral College. Yep. Gauss Rifle says Straw Pole's got plot armor. Who'd have thought it's got straw in the name? That makes sense. Princess Taco says waifu tier list when with Jinbei cosplay, and she gave me a trigger warning for that. Waifu tier list, I told you guys, it'll come at some point when I want to hit like a really big goal. Again, it'll be like get me to 300k or something like that. Jinbei cosplay will never happen. I don't do cosplay. Anime Devil Hunter says, Morge, One Piece ends. What will you cover next? That's a complicated question. How long I want to stick in YouTube is its own question, and then whether I want to put more time into, more manga and anime, or if I want to just shift over completely and just focus on doing film, TV related stuff in terms of YouTube. That's another question. Gas Rifle says, I don't know what to think of Samurai Champloo. I haven't watched it yet. Samurai Champloo, I haven't watched it yet. Ah ha ha, very, very, very funny. Hilarious. Yeah, L was more intelligent. Everyone's jumping on the train. L's more intelligent. Yeah. I think that they were evil. Or, not evil. Equal. Freudian slip because Light was equal. Light had a lot of luck. Light was smarter in an alternate timeline. Blah, blah, blah. L had to play blind. Light had to play by himself. He had to play by himself. L had the entire world, like the entire government's force behind him. All right? I don't know. I think they were portrayed as equal. I think more people kind of, like, the idea is that they're two equally intelligent people with, like, their own sort of quirks and desires and motivations, and they both have their own advantages and disadvantages. Obviously, the ability to write someone's name in a book and just kill them is a huge advantage, but at the same time, he's working alone. He doesn't know L's name. He's just a high school student. He doesn't have the, like, there's, it's supposed to, I get the sense that it's supposed to feel like it's balanced out, and they're roughly equal. I think it's fans who kind of go into the nitpickiness and being like, well, you see this scene right here, if L had this, if, like, L had figured it out right. Some people are like, L figured it out that it was, like, from, like, 15 episodes back or some shit. I'm like, oh yeah, then why the fuck did, I won't get into it. But, like, I won't spoil it for you, but if L had figured that shit out, that certain events would have played out way differently. You know, if he'd figured it out that early on, obviously we know how it ended and certain things were figured out, but, like, I think that people just want to suck off L because they're just like, well, Light had the Death Note. It's like, you're ignoring the portrayal of the characters in the series. The way that the writer was trying to portray things was two very evenly matched individuals. People get too much into the nitpickiness of being like, well, technically this. It's like, it's not how it works. It's not how storytelling. It's like, what's the author's intent? You have to read into the author's intent. The author's not going to think through every little micro interaction to be like, oh, whoops, I accidentally made this character seem a little smarter because technically this thing is the case. You know what I'm saying? Gauss Rifle says, oh no, we covered you. Hey Yanel says, what if Kaido wanted a son but got Yamato instead? He calls her his son because he denies her gender. If his toxicity convinced Yamato that men are better, it would explain why Yamato idolizes Odin so much, the manliest man. Hey, Yano, that's a really, really interesting idea. I think that's a really interesting idea. I think that would really flip the perception of Kaido as being, you know, like a really shitty dude, but at least he respected Yamato's pronouns, like a lot of people were saying, right? Because it's like, well, he literally forced her into that mindset. I think that would, I mean, so Wano, I think especially early on, it had some hints at that it was going to address some notions of sexism, etc., that might be a little bit rampant in that culture, but then I think that it kind of, it kind of went to the wayside to a degree. So I don't know if Oda's ever going to pick that up again in Wano or if it's ever going to necessarily be important, but I would like to see it. Code Geass had good levity, character drama, balances contrasting tones, and a good set of side character arcs as Mr. CPU. It depends, because, like, dude, with Code Geass, there's some shit, and this might be personal preference, but, like, when it's, like, school council shit, I cannot care less, usually, in terms of anime and manga. So, and I think Code Geass had, like, a little too much of that, for me, in my opinion. I still remember, I think there was an episode they were trying to catch a cat or something. I might be, maybe some weird fever dream. I might be remembering something that never happened, but I remember some episode of Code Geass where I had to watch them for 20 minutes try and catch a cat, and I was furious. And I thought Code Geass was really good, except I didn't watch the second season because I was mad at how the first season ended. Maybe it is really good, I don't know. I don't know 100%. Not equally comparably, says Kid Spikin. Okay, we're gonna leave it alone. We're gonna leave it alone. Sankit says Light had the Death Note, bro. Yeah, but that's not the simple, that's not everything, right? Like, L had the government on his side, and Light didn't know L's name. It's not about, like, you can't just be like, well, he had magic and the other guy didn't, therefore Light just wins. If you look at the portrayal of it, right, throughout the series, the idea is that one gets one over the other, then the other gets one over the other, and they generally kind of end up sort of playing with a similar playing field in terms of, like, the rules that are set, and that Light has to work alone, but he has a very, very broken power on his side. L has far more variety of resources and what he can do and can set up more situations, but at the same time, he can't just magically do the things that Light can do, right? But at the same time, they can't really do anything to each other because Light doesn't know L's name, and L doesn't 100% know who Kira is, right? So it was set up to be, in theory, basically an even playing field, right? An even chess playing field. It's just fans that just want to be like, well, L is smarter just because he's just smarter because L's cool and Light sucks. It's just like Light had the Death Note. It's like, that's not the author's intent. You just look at the author, look at what the author is trying to portray them as. Sheesh says, mod tier list today after this or Riot. Anuj, Pirate Hero, and Phantom are the only S tiers BTW. I don't know if they're the only S tiers, but like definitely, I think automatic S tiers, to be honest. I might do a mod tier list after we do Film Z, and I was talking about doing Film Z this Saturday. The reason I say that is because I will never do a mod tier list on like a stream like this, where, you know, it's the usual Monday stream, because the goal is for more people to be able to watch, right? More people to tune in and be able to watch. If I do a mod tier list, the average person tuning in, unless you're like heavily, not even heavily, but like a regular viewer of these streams, you're not going to really know, you know, the general rundown of like who usually frequents these streams, who are the normal mods, etc., what they do. So I think a Film Z stream, because that's going to be a smaller, more niche crowd anyway, I think adding on to that and doing the mod tier list stream, I could do that. All right. Let's find out, what were we even voting on? Let me see that. What were we even voting on? I literally don't remember. Stop and go back to the islands. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Don't worry about it. Danilo Bront-Soros says, stop comparing stuff with chess. Chess is just like the, you know, stereotypical go-to thing. What do you want me to say? Compared to Go? Should I say it's like a game of Go? Just say it's like a game of checkers, which is just chess but stupider according to most people. Gushin Mukherjee says, I'm permanent F tier on the mod tier list. Gushin, you shouldn't be a mod. It makes me so mad that you're a mod. If I was more ruthless, I would remove you. Zoe is a 41% S, 37% A, 17% B. All right. We're going to put it in A. We're going to put Zoe in A. All right. Shellstown. I'm going to go ahead and put... Wait, no. This isn't Shellstown. It's not Shellstown. Which one was this? Which one was this one? Let's see if chat gets it right. What was this Shellstown? What did that represent? What did Shellstown represent? Ray Bartlett says, you better not have forgotten Gaimon's Island. I 100% forgot Gaimon's Island. 100%. The Island of Strange Creatures is not here. Island of Mysterious Creatures, whatever you call it. Jordan Taylor says, like a game of Guess Who. Sure. Guess Who, Battleship, sorry, whatever game you want to say. Parcheesi. Candyland, bro. Yeah, like a game of solitaire. Yeah. I'm sorry for saying chess. Sorry for insulting the great game of chess. Marcus says, how is it being ranked? For anyone new to the stream, we're ranking the islands largely based on a combination of how much time Oda put into the world building behind the island, so the lore, architecture, culture, animals, as was mentioned, if you care about the animals, right? Just generally the lore, culture, etc., geography, the amount of thought that goes into the island, how fleshed out it feels. And then secondly, on top of that, so two-parter, the concept behind the island. How cool is it as a concept? You know, Zoe's on the back of an elephant. That's pretty cool. So you basically combine those two things, 50-50. What's your final ranking for the island? Oh, like the stream. Don't forget that. Let me remind you guys of that. Babtron says, feel like Avatar The Last Airbender draws from One Piece. I don't know about that. Avatar The Last Airbender is funny because it's like... Okay, listen to my full statement before you... Okay, actually I'll just neuter my statement. I was going to say Avatar The Last Airbender is an anime ripoff. I don't mean it's an anime ripoff. It's not an anime rip. It's clearly anime inspired heavily, right? Clearly heavily anime inspired, but it does it in a Western style. It's like a fusion of, you know, Western style storytelling and, you know, how, you know, more episodic, more fitted for, you know, how kids in the West watch cartoons, right? Style of humor as well, but a mix of anime as well. Doesn't get into a lot of the things that, you know, are common anime tropes. So like the way power-ups work, move names, like a million things, like getting very nitty-gritty into techniques and stuff like that. Like, so it has a lot of anime-inspired elements, mixed with Western-inspired elements, which is why I think that it could arguably draw from One Piece in a way, but I think that it does so well to, even though it's clearly inspired by anime to a degree, it separates itself from any anime in the sense that like you never feel like you're actually watching something that's like, oh, literally just drawing from Naruto or literally just drawing from One Piece or something like that. Like you could feel the inspiration there, but it's very, very, very much its own thing. And I just would never stretch to be like, okay, it's like One Piece inspired or something like that. Like I'm sure the creators of it have watched anime, clearly, but I would never be like, yeah, this feels like it's from One Piece or something like that. I think, whereas I can point to a lot of other series, you know, that are currently running and be like, yeah, this feels clearly pulled from One Piece, this feels clearly pulled from Naruto. I'll say this, by the way, you know the series that had by far the most influence, even though people shit on Naruto, the series that had by far the most influence on within manga as a medium in terms of shonen, right? What series influenced the most other shonen that we see running today? So I'm talking about Jujutsu Kaisen, My Hero, Black Clover. The series that really set the template for that is Naruto. And you can be like, oh, Jujutsu Kaisen's so much better than Naruto, so much darker, blah, 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 or like My Hero better, like whatever. No matter how you spin it, it's inspired by Naruto. I'm not saying Naruto's better than all those series, but it's the same way that like Dragon Ball heavily influenced One Piece and Naruto, right? You can say the same thing. A lot of series are following a similar Naruto template as the basis for, we're going to start with this concept and then build out the world and unique aspects from that, right? That's the reality of it. So as great as One Piece is and the fact that it's way more popular than Naruto in Japan, Naruto, it seems, is the most replicable piece of media that a lot of other series seem to be drawing upon in the shonen medium in Japan. Pretty interesting to me. Because like I think a lot of we as One Piece fans try to take away from Naruto and basically be like, One Piece sales, One Piece rules Japan, One Piece was always bigger than Japan, bigger than Naruto in Japan, etc. It's like, that's true, but it's interesting to see that, like, I think part of it is it's because it's very difficult to try and, like, chase after or imitate One Piece's story, because it's just too grand, too big, too epic, too large, too long-term vision and scale. But Naruto set, like, a template that was, like, this is really, really, like, where it's at. Like, this resonates with kids in the shonen genre, and it's a very replicable sort of starting baseline template, even just the starting, like, having a basic trio of main characters over and over. Not that, like, having a trio of main characters is new or specific to Naruto, but more so just, like, the three types of character, like, what the main character is like, his kind of, like, sort of darker male buddy counterpart, and then the female of the group, the sensei. Like, there's just so many aspects of Naruto, like the school setting, etc. It's just, you can see Naruto's influence more in other shonen than One Piece's influence. I think just because One Piece is very hard to replicate, and Naruto kind of set like something that is good, that can be chased after, and like a formula for success in many ways. Where are we at? You guys didn't tell me what the Shells Town is. Or you did and I wasn't listening. Okay, some people are saying it's Dressrosa, some people are saying it's Fishman Island. We have to pick right now. I'm going to say it's Fishman Island. Keenan says, too busy to tune in tonight. Sorry, man. Just dropping my weekly support for the Code Morge. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. If post-timeskip Punk Hazard isn't S just based on its Admiral Dual lore, I'm riding. I'm sorry to disappoint you, man, but even though you dropped by and even though you gave me my weekly support, Punk Hazard is very likely to not be an S tier. We'll see. Mateo Ramirez says, just use my tier list template with all the islands you missed? What? 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 Is this a thing? Did Mateo Ramirez just fix everything? Hope you didn't just paste a bunch of pornography or something like that. This is great. This is great. We can scrap this tier list. All right, no. Okay, so we remember. Okay, first of all, oh, you're already a mod. I can do nothing more for you, but thank you. Morge, are you ever going to be more active on Discord? Oh, fuck. I guess there is some way I could pay you back. I guess I could be more active on Discord. Let's say maybe. All right, we're going to use Mateo Romeo's moving forward. Avatar rant incoming? No, I have nothing against Avatar. Avatar was golden part of my childhood. Golden part of my childhood. I have never gone back to revisit or rewatch Avatar. I've rewatched scenes and such, but I've never felt like going back and rewatching all of Avatar, largely because I think it just feels. It was part of my it was my favorite show when I was a kid. At least favorite like anime and stuff. I kind of didn't count because One Piece I got more into. I think when I was in like 6th grade or something like that. Like I was watching it from 3rd grade, but then I stopped seeing it on Cartoon Network. Later on, I would look it up and watch it or whatever. But like I just didn't count shows like One Piece or Yu-Gi-Oh and stuff like that. So as a kid, like because they clearly felt different. Avatar was definitely my favorite. And I still remember as a kid, like, the gap between season 2 and season 3 was the longest fucking thing in the world. I thought that the show had been... I didn't understand. I was like, what happened to the show? Where'd it go? Like, it was like a really, really long gap. Like, when you're a kid, that gap feels huge. It feels huge. Maybe it was like 4 years. It was probably only like 1 year or 2 years, but I remember there's a huge, huge gap. I was just really confused. And they would call the series books, right? It was like book 1, book 2, book 3. As I was convinced it was a book series, I kept like looking. I was like, why the fuck are they calling it like book 1, book 2, book 3? Where can I read these books? Because book 3 isn't fucking coming out. Can I find book 3 somewhere and read it? I really, 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 really loved Avatar as a kid. I don't feel like revisiting it because even just like going back like a little bit, like at the end of the day, it's a mix of like, you know, storytelling that's really, really, really good and holds up today clearly. And at the same time, at some point, like, just seeing bits of it, I can feel like it's a kid's show at the same time. Not that it's not great, and, like, if someone said Avatar is my favorite show ever, including all anime or whatever, I wouldn't be like, oh, that's surprising. I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. It's an amazing show. It's just that I feel like I wouldn't feel like rewatching all 3 seasons, and, like, I feel like at points it would feel like a kid's show, or, like, you know, very episodic at periods of times, and, like, it did a lot of points. It did have, you know, just episodes that were more, you know, kids show episodes where it's like we have this problem of the week sort of thing, and like Katara should learn to be less stuck up or something, and that's the lesson of the week or something. And it's just like, okay, cool. Like, I don't feel like I would be able to right now feel like really pushing to watch the whole series again, but at the same time, I hold it in such a treasured light that, like, I think I prefer it that way. Like, I feel like I don't ever need to revisit that show. I know how much that show means to me. Like, I view it in the highest of highest regards, basically. People are saying DBZ has a greater influence. No, because then you're stretching too far. Because Dragon Ball has less influence nowadays than Naruto does. Because it's different. Dragon Ball influenced, it's like the grandparent sort of thing. Like, Dragon Ball influenced One Piece and Naruto and that sort of group, right? Now, they influence the next, and particularly Naruto. Naruto is by far the most influence on current shonen. DBZ is like 2 tiers removed at this point. Very, very few. There's no series that are... You look at like Record or Ragnarok is like the closest thing to like trying to be like DBZ in today's game. Like, nothing is... I would be shocked if you think that like series today are trying to take off after Dragon Ball. Like, they're really, really not. Like, it's just that Dragon Ball set so many fundamental things that, like, I guess you could say that, like, okay, all shonen technically, or all action battle shonen technically take after Dragon Ball, and that's true, but it's like, it's multiple tiers removed now. So I'm saying, like, Naruto took from Dragon Ball's template, created Naruto, right? Now everything is following Naruto's template a little more, but Naruto's template is moved a little further along from Dragon Ball's template. There's more elements involved than just what Dragon Ball was. Alright. We slowed down too much. Bleach is way more influencing. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. You want me to actually, like, break this down? You want me to actually break this down? Because Bleach has... You can see Bleach's influence in a lot of stuff. But even just a series like Jujutsu Kaisen, which you would argue is, like, on surface level, you'd be like, Jujutsu Kaisen is closer to Bleach than to Naruto. No, it's not. It has, I think, closer tone and closer, like, feel to Bleach, I would say. And obviously certain elements, you know, you can get into hollows, curses, stuff like that. But in terms of the fundamentals of, like, how the author is beginning with the basics of, like, okay, core cast of characters, setting, the things that I want to build off of, etc., the dynamics that I want to work with, it's much closer to Naruto. Oh, do the islands. Yeah, how about I do this? Bleach influenced Black Clover and Jujutsu Kaisen. Yeah, but Black Clover 100% influenced by Bleach, but Naruto influenced Black Clover more. Bleach influenced Jujutsu Kaisen. Yeah, but Naruto influenced Jujutsu Kaisen more. I think One Piece fans have like a vendetta against Naruto, so they don't want to acknowledge that sort of thing. But that's the reality of it. And like I like Bleach long term was a series that I liked more than Naruto. Bleach at one point when I was younger, I think in middle school days, middle school, super early high school, I liked Bleach as much as One Piece. Those two were like equal for me. So I have like nothing against Bleach, but you guys are thinking of the wrong thing when you're thinking about influence. I'm talking about like, I don't want to get into what I'm talking about. All right, Fishman Island, because it would just derail this too much, and it's probably better saved for like maybe a video or something. Fishman Island is what this is. All right, this one represents Fishman Island. Where are we putting Fishman Island? I have a feeling Oh wait, no, we're switching over. All right, so we said Whole Cake, Wano, and Zoe, right? Where's Whole Cake? All right, Whole Cake. Then Wano was like, where's Wano? He used different images than me. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I personally like my images. Nah, you forgot Wano. Look at that. Oh, no, you didn't. Damn it. All right. You're better than me. That's fine. I accept it. Let's try and get through these. Jose Laria says Naruto's mid, it doesn't matter. You can think some stuff sucks. You can think some stuff is mid, but you can still acknowledge its influence. Like, I'm never going to claim that Dragon Ball is like the greatest shit ever. It's not, but like, in my opinion. But it obviously influenced a lot. I'm not a Naruto fan. I never even was really like a big Naruto fan. I've watched it. Mr. CPU says Naruto is the most influenced shonen on current shonen series. Yeah, I agree. That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I think that doesn't mean that it's above One Piece. Obviously, I don't think that's even close. I think One Piece is light years ahead. I'm just saying that it's clear that like modern shonen authors coming up, they found it easier to try and replicate what Naruto is doing than what One Piece is doing. The reason I have for that, I think that makes sense in my head, is because it's so hard to write a story like One Piece. One Piece is a story that's like the amount of planning, long-term vision that you have to have for a series like this. It's just too grand, too large scale. I would not be surprised if we never have another manga like One Piece. We're like 1,030 chapters in to One Piece, and it's still not really close to ending. It's still at minimum, it'll probably hit 1,200 chapters. At minimum, probably 1,200 chapters. Very possibly 1,300. Like, that's insane. 120 volumes minimum. So it's very hard to, a series like One Piece is one where, like, you have to have the whole thing sort of mapped out to construct this giant epic. I don't think that's doable. I don't think any shonen author is really, at least for a while, is going to be trying to chase what One Piece created. But you can chase Naruto because it's a much simpler starting concept. I mean, look at Naruto itself. Like, it really, a lot of the ideas for it, like, clearly he came up with as time went on, right? Like, Gaara didn't have a tailed beast at the start of the series. He kind of just made that shit up as he went along, So, very, very different methods of approach. So, where are we at? Okay, we're actually at Alabasta now. Let me give a poll for this. A lot of this stuff is really, really hard to decide. Oh, and we got to cut out one of the options. Avatar is better than Naruto. Here's the thing. I don't think Avatar ever had, like, maybe I'm alone in this. But I don't know if Avatar, for me, ever had, like, extremely high highs. It was a very endearing series that I was very invested in the story of and really liked the characters and such. I don't think, like, emotionally it ever hit me in some, like, crazy way. Like, there's never, like... I mean, I guess people can talk about, like, well, Iroh's son's backstory thing or whatever. Iroh's son died. I mean, that's sad, but it's not like It's not like crazy sad. Like it's like sad for a kids show in my view. Yeah, like even like hype moments, epic moments. Like it doesn't have true anime style fights. It has more like Western fights where they kind of go by like that, not that much conversation or like character arcs or whatever happening during the fights. So I think it's just make sure I'm not missing anything. Yeah. Like I think I really, really liked Avatar for what it was. I think the highs of Naruto for me are better, but I think overall I liked I'm 29, no, I'm 26. Would you rather threesome with Nami and Robin or the raid fails? So it has to be an or, because the raid's gonna fail either way, so I don't have to like wish for that, you know what I mean? But if it's like I have to pick one, like I could just go with Nami and Robin because the raid's gonna fail anyway. So I don't really have to wish for it, you know? You gotta rewatch Avatar, says MF Bond 1. Yeah, maybe. Mr. CPU says, though, the emotion in Zuko and Aang stories. I think what I mean is like, no, I think I think the emotional moments are strong in, how do I say this? I think Avatar had good, emotional storylines, really good character storylines, Zuko's storyline, of course. I'm just saying that, like, I don't think that there was ever a point in that series where I was, like, gonna cry or something like that, like, I don't think. Whereas, when I watch lots of anime, I feel like they try to construct moments that are really gonna be, like, really, really fuck you up mentally, Let's take a look at what you guys gave this. Waiting. Weiss Ebba says, is this based on island design or the arc? Island design. God damn it, why is this not a... Oh. Did not load? What's going on? I can see my poll results. Jesus Christ, if chat freeze... We're only like 4 islands in, so we're gonna have to pick up the pace. And it's not gonna work exactly if can't see how my chat is voting on these options. Fuck. Do I have to refresh this? Can I refresh this? Refresh. Go. Alright. Let's do this again. Not the poll again, but looks like I gotta restore chat. I gotta restore chat. Hello? Restore chat. Alright. Oh my god, chat here is so far behind. Let me restore chat, let me pop out chat. Good god. At least the stream didn't crash. I hope I still get to see the results of the poll. Hello? No. What the hell's going on? No. This isn't supposed to happen. I have Ethernet now. What was the point of me getting Ethernet if it was all for nothing? Alright, let's try one more time. I just want to know where you guys voted for Alabasta. Should I just open up on my phone? That's like the jank way to do it. Wait, we're back. Alright. Alright. We back? What? Oh, okay. Juan Perret says Alabasta was A, 42%, B, 69%, S, 22%, C, 0%. So we're going with B? Alright, we're going with B. Alright, thanks, Juan. Alright. Oh, Amazon Lily. I'm interested to see how you guys vote on Amazon Lily. It'll be very telling. You guys are asking me about threesomes with Nami and Robin. I know what you guys are voting for Amazon Lily. Alright, that last poll nearly screwed everything up. Yeah, second monitor. Yeah, we'll see about that maybe. Next one. Amazon Lily. S. A. B. C. Yeah, Juan Perret's a hero. Good stuff, dude. What were you guys saying while the stream was failing? Let's take a look. See, the good news is that the whole thing didn't crash. Normally, like 2 months ago, the whole stream would have ended while this was going on. But here it kind of just slowed down for some reason. So I don't really know what causes what, but yeah, I guess Ethernet really does prevent the stream from failing. I scrolled past so I couldn't see the name, but someone said not to be, I think his name was Steak something. He said not to be rude, but this has to be the least efficient way to do a tier list ever. Well, I'm trying to get people's opinions. You know what? I'll be a little more aggressive as we move along. I'll just put some in where I want to put them. I just assumed that Juan had wanted to write 42 and that he wrote 420 as a joke. But it looks like, you know, it's in B, so it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Turns out it was totally different. Alright, let's take a look. Amazon Lily also, wait, no. Yeah, alright, it's going to be in B. Yeah, it's going to be in B. Alright, Amazon Lily and B. Alright, now I'm going to be a little aggressive. So this looks like it's Baltigo, right? Baltigo. Easy C. Baltigo is literally just an empty island of rocks. The only thing interesting about it is that the rocks are white. It's like a white island, right? That's its thing. Crazy. Imagine that. An island where all the rocks are white. I mean, Whole Cake Island is literally an island made out of a giant cake. But could you imagine going to Baltigo? Wild stuff. Boyne Archipelago. I'm going to continue being somewhat aggressive. I'd say cool concept, but we know little to nothing about it. I'm going to actually put it in C. Because we learned nothing about it. Oh, you did everything? Wait, fuck. You did stuff like Nami's Village? Alright, then that's going to be in C. Boyne Archipelago. Man, alright, we got to add another tier. But then you guys can't really vote on the next tier, right? I have a solution for it. I already figured out a solution. Don't even worry about it. You guys will be impressed when you see what my solution is. It's a very smart solution. You guys would never have thought of it. You'll see when the next poll comes up. Alright, we'll put Boyne there. I'll even put Baltigo up here. Because the revolutionaries are there, and that's kind of cool. C, this will be D. So then we get down to the really basic stuff, right? Nah, actually Baltigo at the end of the... I'm not going to do a vote on Baltigo. If I do a vote on Baltigo, then it's just like too difficult. Then we're voting on everything, right? Dressrosa. Great thing to vote on. That's a tricky one. My opinion, just to be a little biased, Just to be a little bit biased, I think that Dressrosa, not that cool of an island. Did you do Greenbit separately? Let me take a look. Did he do Greenbit separately? Is Greenbit here? No. Alright, so count Dressrosa and Greenbit together. Count them together, alright? Dressrosa and Greenbit. Alright, Dressrosa plus Greenbit. So Dressrosa, I guess it gets a little bit of a Greenbit boost. Alright, so here's my brilliant idea. I do S, I do A, I do B, I do C or lower. C or lower. That's my genius play. And then this way, even though we only have 4 options, you get the gist of it, right? So C or lower. For those of you who didn't learn the alphabet or your English isn't that good, C or lower means C or D. Alright? Then if that wins, then obviously I'll throw it to C or D and we'll figure it out that way. How many of you would have figured that out? Be honest. How many of you would have thought of that on the fly? 0. That's why I'm the one running the stream. Brilliant ideas like that. Take inventory says, hey Morge, can Vanderdecken use his devil fruit to throw a planet? Actually, there's nothing to suggest he can't. Because it's not like he really strained himself when he was throwing Noah. Right? He did that pretty casually. It's just like it took no effort from him. He just touched it and then he threw it. So I would say no. Obviously, he can't throw a planet, but I would say that the size of an object that he can throw is probably unreasonably big. I wouldn't be surprised if he could throw like an island, because Noah is like a third of the size, some fraction of the size of Fishman Island. So he could probably throw a small island, to be honest. Dressrosa is kind of meh for One Piece standards. Yeah, I would agree. Dressrosa is pretty straightforward. Pretty straightforward. That's kind of an interesting similarity in that Alabasta, Dressrosa, and Wano, right? Those are all islands that we can all recognize have a similar. There's a high level of similarities between those islands in terms of the arcs that we get out of them, right? So very similar arcs in terms of the story setup for each of those arcs. And each of those arcs feature islands that, like, even though the arc itself is somewhat significant, right? And they face a significant villain. Each of the islands is actually, by One Piece standards, pretty tame. Each of the islands is actually meant to be more realistic and grounded, right? So Oda actually focuses more on trying to create like a realistic culture and civilization in those islands rather than coming up with some kooky concept like, you know, a sky island, island under the sea, island on the top of an elephant, stuff like that. So Oda actually tries to write more of a realistic, grounded civilization for those islands. I think that's because that's important for him getting across the ideas that he wants to get across with those storylines. Because again, like, Alabasta is supposed to be representative of, so Doflamingo is supposed to be representative of how, like, okay, I don't want to get too much into this, but, like, let's say, so Alabasta posed the idea of, like, okay, this is a flourishing, thriving nation, but look at how easily it almost falls into the hands of a pirate who almost turns it into his own nation and names himself the king, right? And then Dressrosa is just Alabasta, that storyline, but actually realized it was a thriving, flourishing nation with a monarchy, etc., and then a pirate did actually usurp that and just label himself king. So he went from a pirate to a king overnight and just made it his region, his domain, right? So Dressrosa is that mirror to Alabasta in terms of Dressrosa is what Alabasta could have been, and then Dressrosa itself is an encapsulation of, that's in miniature what happened to the world at large, in that the world government is really just a group of, rebels, not rebels, but yeah, essentially rebels who, like, just nations that just decided to take over the world, overthrow the previous ancient kingdom that was reigning, take over the world, declare themselves as the new reigning regime, and they really are no better than pirates themselves, but now they've fashioned themselves as gods, right? So I think it's just interesting to me now that I think about it that maybe a lot of the reasons that Alabasta, Dressrosa, and Wano are more grounded nations is because that's a better way to, it distracts less from the ideas that Oda's trying to get across about the nature of who has power, where that power comes from, how power can easily be usurped, and like the modern day interpretation of, how the citizens view the ruling class is so skewed by just like, well, did they win or lose? Did they manage to gain power or not? That's how, you can be a pirate one day, but flawless, just king the next. Yeah, I think that's very important that Oda decided to make those more grounded civilizations because, yeah, it just allows you to focus more on like the clear concepts of what's playing out, right, that he's trying to illustrate. All right, what are the thoughts going on before this? Did I miss anything? I don't think I missed anything. All right, let's take a look. Wait, nope, I did miss something. I forgot. Take inventory. Nope, we skipped that. Talk about the planet thing. Anuj Agarwal says, Morge, unpin the straw poll. I'm going insane. All right, thanks, Anuj. My bad. All right, let's see. So, okay, it looks like overwhelmingly, yeah, pretty much definitely it's going to be, Dressrosa is going to be an A tier. Okay, I could see it. I don't know, but no, I'm going to do a veto on that. Dressrosa's not an A tier. That's nuts. Because A tier is like Zou, which is a really cool concept, and Dressrosa is just a shittier Wano. Right? Because both are relatively grounded civilizations, right? But Wano is actually really, really fleshed out with all of the regions, the lore, the history, etc. Dressrosa is just like Wano, but like with less to it. Honestly, Alabasta is solidly above Dressrosa in my book. Like, should be clearly above Dressrosa. Because if you go back and read the Alabasta arc, we got so much more info on... Alabasta is a much more fleshed out nation, much larger, more fleshed out nation, with a much more fleshed out cult. Like, Alabasta actually has a culture. Like, it actually has a culture in terms of, just the animals, the way that different areas of the country are for different things, like the types of foods that they eat, there's just a much more fleshed out culture to Alabasta than there is to Dressrosa. I think Dressrosa, we kind of went through it quick, so we're like, well, there's toys, and that's like the main thing, but there's also a Colosseum, and there's also fairies, so just threw a lot of stuff at us at once, but Alabasta, we actually got to really explore that kingdom, and there's even just their trip along through the desert, you got more nuances to the nation and the way the nation worked and kind of what made it interesting, like simple shit like the Kung Fu dugongs and stuff like that. There's better stuff that I can think of over time, but even just the lore around Yuba, why Yuba is important. Yeah, there's much more to Alabasta than Dressrosa. I'm fine putting them in the same tier, but I think it's very hard to make an argument for Dressrosa being close to as fleshed out as Alabasta. And then and Dressrosa is not exactly a really creative concept. Zou at least is a really cool concept being on top of an elephant, so it doesn't really get above Alabasta in that sense either. I think people just forget Alabasta, but Alabasta was a really, really fleshed out nation. Really, really fleshed out nation. I would argue Alabasta is second only to Wano in terms of being a fleshed out nation. And actually, I'm not going to say it has an argument over Wano, but we spent more, Wano has more stuff going on, so we find out, Ringo is for this stuff, this is the history of, each little section of it we find out more, I think. But I think in Alabasta we got to kind of experience a little bit more of what's going on. We spent more time in the day-to-day of what's going on in Alabasta because we spent more time with the Straw Hats on their sort of journey across Alabasta. So we picked up more stuff. It was a slower pacing of the way Alabasta was kind of built up as a nation. But I'm not going to argue that it's more fleshed out as a world than Wano. It's not. Aslan says, can you talk about why Zoro will cut Onigashima? I don't know if Zoro is going to cut Onigashima. I feel like you brought this up multiple times. I don't know if Oda's going to bring up Zoro cutting Onigashima. I don't know if that's going to happen. Reflexy says Morge on a roll with underrating Wano today. What? What did I say about Wano negatively before this? I don't think I said anything. No, come on. Okay, let me say it more definitively. Wano is the most fleshed out. In terms of its world, Wano is the most fleshed out island in One Piece. I think definitively. Maybe I was overrating Alabasta a little too much there. But I'm definitely not overrating Alabasta when I say it's better fleshed out. More thought put into it than Dressrosa, because it is by leaps and bounds. Alright, Drum Kingdom. Drum's a tricky one. For the sake of time, I'm going to move... No. I guess I gotta let you guys vote, right? I'll let you guys vote on Drum, because I think Drum's maybe a little hard to place. I'll let you guys vote on Drum. And I'll get to this Super Chat in a second. Oh, yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Stephen Bricano, maybe that's why I feel this way a little bit. Stephen Bricano pointed out, Alabasta feels more like a country. Wano's section feels really isolated from each other. I do think Wano's sections feel a little more isolated from one another. Alabasta really was a giant nation. Fun fact, Alabasta is, to this day, by far, by a huge margin, by far the biggest nation that we've ever been to. It's a gigantic gap. From what we know, there's no nation as big as Wano from what we know. Or as Alabasta from what we know. Easy to forget, but Alabasta was way bigger. It's funny because the Wano War, we talk about there's thousands of fighters and stuff. Alabasta's war was millions. It was in the scale of millions. So it's just the population's on a totally different level. Wano, from what we understand, you can run. So from what we understand, you can run from this area of Wano to the flower capital. You can get from one area of Wano to the another area of Wano in about a day. Half a day or so. Chopper, Big Mom, etc., they traveled over to Udon in a night. So you can kind of go across Wano pretty quick. I think Oda's been a little inconsistent with the timings for how long it takes for certain things to happen. Just kind of whatever's convenient for the time. That's how long he says it is, but which is totally fine. I think it's not a big deal if certain things can happen a little faster later, but Zoro and Toko and Hiyori, they ran from Ringo to the flower capital in 20 minutes. So if you really book it, you can get across most of Wano probably in a day and a half. Alabasta, that's a journey. That's a nation. That's a trip. That's an epic on its own, them getting across all of Alabasta. Totally different scale. Not saying bigger island means better, but just it's easy to forget that Alabasta, really large nation that Oda came up with. I was going to do Drum Kingdom. Let me do a poll. Christian, I see what you say about the rebel forces. I do agree with you. And there's a lot of good reasons for why I agree with you that I will talk about in depth in a video, because I have my own thoughts on this. But there's a lot that you can kind of point out as to differences between the Wano and Alabasta conflicts and why many people probably likely feel that greater investment in Alabasta's internal conflict. Chinho Wong claims that it's pre-times goodbyes. It's really not. You can literally, if you read, that's the problem. I think a lot of people are pre-times goodbyes. When was those same people I feel did not read pre-time skip recently. If you reread Alabasta and you reread Wano side to side, there's a gigantic difference in how Oda sets sort of the investment for the involvement in the Alabasta conflict versus the Wano conflict. One is very surface level. The other is, I don't want to get into it too much here. I just don't want to. But I'll save it it's easier saved for a video where I can really paint things out bit by bit, point to specific scenes, specific panels, etc., specific storylines that were developed. Sam R says Zoes S. And that's not to say objectively, you objectively this is that, but I'm saying there's a clear difference in presentation, or the way Oda wrote one story versus the other is a significant difference, and a lot more time was put into one than the other, and it's really not close. Where are we at? Ethan Ebenezer says, never smoke weed or never drink. Oh, that's tough. I smoke way more often, but drinking it's better for social. Like it's hard to get through. Not it's hard to get through, but like for social stuff, you like drinking's just bigger, and sometimes you just need to drink. Not like in an alcoholic way, but just like you can kind of celebrate by drinking in a way that like weed is not quite the same. Like especially if you had like a lot of stress or something, like it just helps. Let's say if I had to give up one, maybe I'd give up alcohol. Yeah, probably. Samar says Zoe is S. Thank you for your input, Samar, but I don't know if that's going to be enough to bump it. Juno, I do not want Wano to be over ASAP. I want more time in Wano. I do agree Alabasta over Wano at the moment for now. Yeah, I would love if my opinion has changed by the time Wano is over. So I do not cling to pre-time skip in terms of like, this will always be better. I legitimately would like Wano to be my favorite arc by the time we're done with it. Like, I've been looking forward to this arc for a long, long time. Believe me when I say that I have significant bias towards Wano being the best arc in the series. I would really, really like it. And even if you go back and like look at my reviews and the way I talked about Wano earlier in the Wano arc, it is extremely extreme. Like, I talk up like every little thing. I talk up like the fucking firefighters that came to put out the fire in Okobore town. Like, every little thing about Wano, I'm like gushing over it. I'm just like, it's so cool that Oda included this detail, etc., etc. I promise, I've been very, 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 very like open towards everything in Wano. Like, I've wanted it to be the best arc for a long time. I already said last chapter, best Sanji chapter in the entire series. Better than Mr. Prince and Alabasta. Better than the Hunter and better than Hunter in Enies Lobby. Better than Gimme Thanks for the Light and Skypiea. I think last chapter, best Sanji chapter in the entire series. Better than Whole Cake, which was the most Sanji centric arc in the entire series. I'm down for Wano being the best. It's just like I'm just like give me anything, give me some stuff. Felipe Lima says, Wano sucks, you can say it more. No, it's just like, I'm so down for it to be good. I'm really down for it to be good. So like, when people say like, oh, you're just negative about Wano, I'm like, look, if anything, it's the fact that like, I'm so ready for Wano to be the best, and I'm like, ready to jump onto anything and be like, this is the best shit. And like, it's still just not like, I'm like, am I supposed to be hyped about Kid and Law's Awakening? Like, what do you want from me? Like, I didn't think it was that good. What do you want me to say? Drum Kingdom, so what did we say about this? So it looks like it's going to be a B. Slide Deck says, when's the Marineford video dropping? I think I said this before, but December 21st. B for Drum Kingdom. Seems about right. Yeah, let's go with B for Drum Kingdom. Alright, Enies Lobby. I want to put Enies Lobby in S. Would you guys be cool with that? Who's cool with Enies Lobby in S? I feel like you guys might push for A. At worst, B. But I think Enies Lobby is really, really cool. Let me say this. So as a kid, watching the anime, when they got to Enies Lobby, I just thought, like, it felt like something, like, I couldn't even have imagined in my, like, it's hard to explain, but, like, the imagery of Enies Lobby was mind-blowing as a kid. Because it's just this gigantic, like, I couldn't even comprehend it. I'm looking at these gates, right? The entire backdrop of the island is these gigantic gates covered in mist, and the gates just have the world government symbols. And, like, I couldn't, like, in my mind, it was like, is this endless? Like, is is the entire sea just like covered by these giant like mythic gates that just like this wall. I don't even know if you knew there were gates right away. It was just so vast, and then you get closer and it's like it's always like the sun's always shining. People are saying sea. People are saying C. A. How is it not an S? I think it's an S. It's just so fantastic. It's like it's not that fleshed out. I acknowledge it's not like fleshed out like a Wano, or an Alabasta. It's not. But just visual, Enies Lobby is just mind-blowing to look at. It's just like straight out of your dreams. The giant waterfall in the middle, the gates behind it, the light coming down. Yeah, Enies Lobby is so cool. You know what? Morge bias, S. No vote. On to the next one. How do you guys feel about Fishman? How do you guys feel about Fishman Island? Keep going to the wrong place for polls. Fishman Island, I feel like I was slightly disappointed with Fishman. It's hard to say, because like Fishman Island I've biased towards, because I was slightly disappointed with... I like the arc a lot better now. I've come to appreciate Fishman Island a lot better as an arc now. But, first impressions make a big difference. Heavily disappointed with the Fishman Island as an arc when I first read it. Right? First reading it weekly, heavily disappointed with the arc. And then I think the location, no matter what, I didn't find the location that cool. And part of that is the point. Because Fishman Island is actually for as much... Because they hyped up Fishman Island for so long. Starting with post Enies Lobby, Thriller Bark, Saboti Archipelago. They're just talking about Fishman Island, how amazing it's going to be. This amazing paradise. And at the end of the day, Fishman Island's not supposed to be that cool because it really is the equivalent of the Fishman Island is like, it's supposed to be essentially the shittiest place in the world, right? It's the place that they sent all the fishermen have to live there because they're not able to live above the sea with everybody else, right? It is essentially where the most discriminated against group in the One Piece world is forced to live, right? Below everybody else, directly below the most privileged people in the One Piece world, the Celestial Dragons, right? Fishman Island is essentially like the ghettos of the One Piece world, right? Obviously, the location is pretty fantastic in its own right. Ryukyu Palace. People make fun of me for how I pronounce that. Ryukyu Palace. It's actually generally a vibrant location, but it's not that. I don't know. It's colorful, I guess. But the scenery, I think nothing really pops. The fact that it's all in a bubble makes it like a little, obscured. I don't think that it had that wow factor for me that I was kind of looking for. And it all honestly makes sense because of what it's supposed to represent. I mean, within Fishman Island itself, it's kind of cool. But it's Atlantis. Honestly, I think Atlantis from that movie, Atlantis The Lost Empire, is cooler than Fishman Island. It is beautiful. I think Fishman Island, like the Ryukyu Palace panel, is probably the most beautiful panel in One Piece. I don't know if I want to say that. I think that maybe if I had to show a really good example of Oda's artwork when Oda tries and has time to work on a panel, I'd show someone Ryukyu Palace. It'd be at least one of the top choices. But I don't want to say it's maybe number one. Abhay Singh says, what happened to Movie More? Just dead? No, just taking time to kind of... There's a new batch of videos that are lined up. Just taking the time to do them right. Doing a slightly different approach. Not anything crazy different. Like, it's the same type of stuff. But kind of keeping track of what seemed to work and resonate well with people and stuff like that. And also keeping in mind, like, okay, what do I think are the topics that will be most interesting to people? So I think I quickly learned with like Squid Game not to just jump on something that's going around recently because it's popular, right? So I had the urge to basically do a video on Dune. I was like, I'm going to go to theaters, watch Dune because that's what everyone's talking about, do a video on Dune. I was like, do I really want to do that though? No. So I'm going to stick to videos that I want to do, but I want to make sure that like doing the right process of making sure that it's also what is going to resonate with a lot of people. And a lot of people are also going to find interesting. So I went too far in one direction at one point and then too far in another direction at one point. And so now I've kind of reset it in terms of how to do it. And I think the next batch of videos, which should be coming out, supposed to start this Saturday, but I'm 1 week behind. So it'll start coming out like bi-weekly every 2 weeks, starting with next Saturday. So honestly, I think it's a good, the best videos for that channel are going to start coming out Um, Probably about in the next 2 weeks or so, and then every 2 weeks, basically. Fishman Island, yeah, it looks like it lands up in about A. I think that's fair. I think that's where I would put it. Like, everything I was saying about Fishman Island just now was not to say that it's not a great island. I just didn't feel like it was... I wouldn't personally put it in S, but I would be totally understanding if people put it in S. Wait, was Drum B tier? Did I put Drum in the wrong tier? What was Drum? People are saying fixed Drum. Alright, my bad. It's just a courthouse full of mysteries. I don't know. Ennie's Lobby, the wow factor. It's one of those islands, it's not fleshed out that much, I acknowledge, but the wow factor is just too high. Take Inventory says, thank you for your content. You remind me of my favorite teacher in high school, an English literature professor. Wish I could say more in one chat. Thanks, I appreciate that. English was always, surprise, my favorite, subject in school and all that stuff. Just makes sense. Yes, you did, Drumby. I fixed it. All right, we're rating the islands, not the arcs. Yeah, it's islands, not arcs, guys. Jerma, you even included Jerma, the traveling island. I'm just going to make a judgment on this. I think Jerma is cool, but not that fleshed out, but kind of fleshed out. Fuck, Jerma's one of these two. I'm going to go ahead and put Jerma in B. Although it is really cool as a concept, it's just a traveling kingdom, they travel on snails. But it just didn't leave that much of an impact on me, I guess. So, Morge bias, B. Goa Kingdom is by far the hardest. Maybe not by far the hardest, but it's a hard one. Let's try Goa. What did I just accidentally do a poll with no options? I just did a poll with no options. Let's try that again. Anuj Agrawal says, Morge's process of reading chat/super chats is going to throw me off the deep end. How would you like me to do it, Anuj? I just try to do it the best I can, with randomly changing my attention to see whatever I see most recently. Someone said something about Code Geass I want to respond to. Hello? Where'd the Code Geass comment go? Alright, it's lost. It's lost forever. I never saw Season 2 of Code Geass, but I don't mind being spoiled on it. But maybe don't spoil for the chat. Maybe people want to see it. Is Rajesh here? Where's Rajesh? Rajesh isn't here. Rajesh has not shown his face around these parts in a long time. What's good, everyone except Kushin Mukherjee? Oh, straight B. That was easy. Alright, Goa Kingdom straight B. Dude, why are you putting stuff like Impel Down? Impel Down's not an island. This is clearly not an island. This isn't an island. This doesn't belong. We're not rating Impel Down. What about Jaya? I'm putting Jaya in C. We're gonna speed through a little bit. Kamabaka Kingdom. If I put it low, then people will call me all sorts of names that will get me canceled. Am I transphobic for putting it low? I will put it here. I think that's fair. We know next to nothing about it. Kurigana Kingdom. I feel like this also belongs here. We know next to nothing. The only cool thing about Kurigana Kingdom is that Mihawk lives there. And he just moved, right? Mihawk is moving. Last chapter we saw him was him basically being like, I am leaving this place now. I don't know if he stays there, right? There's no way. He's not just going to stay there and wait every day for Marines to come harass him. So Mihawk's out of there. Little Garden. I'm speeding through a little bit. We'll get you guys some votes shortly. Little Garden is going to be a B. Little Garden's going to be a B. Right? Yeah. I mean, it's cool. It's got dinosaurs. I don't really know what else to say. Little Garden's a B. Lokedown's D. Long Ring. Marine Ford, that's not really a thing. It's just a Marine base. I mean, it is an island. I'm just going to put it in D right away. Just an island with military stuff. Never seen that before. All right, I'll let you guys vote on Little Garden. You guys can vote on Little Garden. Impel Down is A tier. It's not an island. We're ranking islands. We're not ranking, like, jails. Then I'd have to put Baratier. Bro, what about the monkeys, Morge? Yeah, but, like, look, it has the monkeys, but then Boyan Archipelago, which we put in C, has, like, everything. It's like a giant Venus flytrap, right? It's got, like, 1 million monsters and animals and shit, right? So it's not really fair, you know? So, don't really know what else. Lockdown is D. Place Roger was executed. Yeah! Fuck. I mean, if we want to say the... But that's only cool for, like... No, come on. That's not the same thing. That's not... That I'm trying to explain it. Basically, like, it's only cool because Roger was executed there, but, like, in general, it's not, like, a very expansive, creative location, you know? It's not like I would have put a lot of thought into Loketown as much. Although, I thought it has a really nice touch, which is, it's got that clothing store, right? That clothing store that Nami went to, where the owner had a coat hanger for a head. And then it's also got a hotel that Stelly stayed at that's... I think he's got, like, a hotel in his hair or something. I might be crazy, but that's what it looked like. It's a piece of local history. Loketown C. You know what? No, I get to decide. All right? We're not talking about Loketown. We're talking about the other thing. We're talking about Little Garden. All right? I'm going to vote on Little Garden. Loketown is A or B? Is that a joke? You're saying just because Gold Roger was executed there, it's equivalent to, like, all of Alabasta, which I would have put, like, way more effort into? If Nami's Island counts, why not Loketown? No, it counts. It's just in D. You know, with, like, stuff that's not really that special. Martin, I'll take a look at your stuff in a second. All right. The hotel is the guy's chin. I knew I mixed something else up, but that was pretty cool. Martin Castro says, kind of sad that all of East Blue except Loketown are solid C's and D's. Is Zoe an island? Also Water 7 or I Ride? That's true. Zoe is an island. Zoe is an island. It's just on the back of an elephant. All right, so it is an island. It's just on the back of an elephant. Impel Down is not an island. It's a giant jail. Just a giant jail cell. Just a giant prison. Sorry. Also, Water 7 S or Ride. You know what? Yeah, let's go ahead and do it. Water 7, easy S. It's like the easiest S in the world. It's Water 7. It's not going anywhere else. It's just simple, clear, Water 7, easiest S in the world. I think we've only really got, like, some good islands left. Controversial islands. Seeing an overwhelming amount of B for this. Take Inventory says, this tier list is irrelevant when you realize Vanderdecken can lift up these islands with zero effort and throw them into the sun. Burn my wallet for this. You were right. Because Vanderdecken could launch any of these islands into space, completely incinerating them in the flames of the sun. Why even bother? Why even bother trying to decide which island is a more creative concept or a superior world building? After all, the only factor that really matters is that Vanderdecken could annihilate any of them on a whim. Right? Why are we even debating any of this stuff? This is just... it's all just kindling for Vanderdecken's madness. Why doesn't Vanderdecken, the strongest character, not simply launch all the islands he doesn't like into the sun? Vanderdecken planet destroy level. Alright. Wait, what you guys vote for Little Garden? B? Overwhelming B? Is that right? That's kind of an asinine observation, says Teddy. Yeah, I would agree. It tells me that Take Inventory basically views most things in life on a scale of whether or not Vanderdecken could destroy it. And only those things that he could not launch into the sun have value. Little Garden is a B. Alright, so I didn't have to do the poll. Oh, fuck, do I have to do the poll for Long Ring now? I think Long Ring is cool. So, yeah, let's throw in my bias again. I think Long Ring is cool. Because of the animals. Because of the animals. You know, you've got a horse. It's actually a horse, right? You've got a dog. It's like a dog. Like, you know what I'm talking about, right? The animals are really, really long. They had a moose on that, on Long Ring, Long Land. It was a moose or a deer or an elk or something like that. That was really cool. It's a really, really long moose. So Long Ring, Long Land, easy here. I'm tempted to put it here, but I feel like that'd be like too much Morge bias. But I get to decide if it's too much Morge bias, not you guys. So it goes here, which is absurd, I admit. Even I feel like it shouldn't be an A. Even I feel like Long Ring shouldn't be there. It's fucked, but it is what it is. It doesn't make sense. Orange Down, easy D. Alright. Punk Hazard, that's an interesting one. Because people can look at it a couple ways. I think Punk Hazard is kind of cool. What's funny is that Punk Hazard is only the way it is because Oda's editors told him that he didn't have time to do an ice island and a fire island, so Oda was like, fuck it, they're one island. So, you know. And it says Loketown's a D. But Long Ring's an A for a moose. What is going on? Not just a moose. A moose. Alright? And a dog. And I think it had a leopard. And the leopard was funny because so everything else was long lengthwise. So like the dog was like really long dog. But the leopard was long widthwise. So I guess it was wide. So its head was really long but sideways. So imagine my head going out sideways. Actually, I'm tempted to put in an S. If you guys keep bothering me about it, I'm going to put in an S, and then everyone will be mad. Just talking about it makes me think it's funny. Punk Hazard, that's what we're on. S. A. I miss these polls. I get to exercise power. Why haven't we done a tier list in so long? They're so much fun. I get to just move things around. And then listen to complaints. Where are we at? What did I miss? I don't think I missed anything. Any sloppy belongs in S. Wait. The word slinger says any sloppy belongs in S, not because it's fleshed out, but because it was a perfect setting for the plot. Loketown is good for the same reasons. No, that's too tricky then. You can't base it on if it was perfect for the plot, because then I think like a lot of these things can be bumped up to S, you know? Like a lot of these things can be perfect for the plot. Oh, I'm seeing a lot of A's. A lot of A's for Punk Hazard. Alright. Remember the Four Seasons concept, says Novelinus Alfredo? I think that the Four Seasons concept is slightly still in play. I think you even still hear things like Kaido's favorite island is a winter island, or Onigashima is a winter island. I think that's something we heard recently. Maybe I'm imagining that, but I believe that is something we heard recently. So I don't think it's a... Trying to think of another example. I don't think it's like a lost concept, but I think it's like it's just not important enough to keep reiterating. Like I can look at like Dressrosa and be like, okay, this seems like a summer or spring island, you know? I can look at Alabasta and be like, okay, this is obviously a summer island, you know? I don't think it matters that much. Blacklight says, how is Punk Hazard not cooler than any Slobby?
it's half fire, half ice, because Enies Lobby is more unique. I mean, half fire, half ice, I feel like that's something that, like, you know, like, if you gave, you know, like, some 12-year-olds, like, come up with some island ideas, I think some of them would come up with something similar to Punk Hazard. That was a harsh way to say it, not to say Punk Hazard's not cool, and, like, the reasoning behind it being that, like, it's a kind of an out what Kiji's doing. It is cool, for sure, but I'm saying, like, Enies Lobby is just, it feels very, very unique. I've never seen a location like that in it. Like, I couldn't really process what Enies Lobby was when I was younger and watching it in the anime, because I was like, the gates just look like the sky is the gates. You know what I mean? Like, you just see this vast symbol that just covers the entire ocean, your entire field of vision. It just feels so endless. And then it feels endless in multiple ways, in that there's also the waterfall that's just at the center of the entire island, and that's why is there a waterfall in the ocean, and it seems to, like, where does it go down to? Does it go down forever? I don't know. There was something just very dreamlike about Enies Lobby that just, for me, it left such an impact that I think no matter what, I would just have pushed it for S. I forget what it got in the poll. Maybe I didn't do a poll for it, but for me, I think Enies Lobby is an S. So I'm not gonna negotiate on that one, unfortunately. Punk Hazard is an A, so we're really not, very few S tier options here. All right, so Saboti, how about Saboti? The Bard here says, Morge, this tier list was my idea in a stream from a year ago. Thank you, the Bard Hero. I did not realize that was where it originated from. As such, I need to know where you would rate Long Island, where I'm from. Oh, Long Island, not Long Ring Long Island. Never been to Long Island. What about those Long Island iced teas? I think I've had those. I would rate Long Island a solid B, because I've never been there. So I'm not going to talk shit about it, but I'm not going to praise it. So, how about that part here? Nostalgia bias confirmed. No, it's just cool either way, alright? I shouldn't have explained it to you guys. I don't have to explain myself. Rakin Chowdhury, thanks a lot. It's just an emoji, it looks like, but appreciate it. Podcast recovered. Oh, Saboti. I was going to put up a poll for Saboti. Don't care plus didn't ask plus ratio? You can't ratio me. This is my stream. It's my stream. Emil Diaz says Saboti is not an island. It's a mangrove grove. Yeah, well, guess what? Morge bias again. It's an island if I claim it's an island. You know what? Maybe a simple metric would be, does a log post point to it? Did a log post point to Saboti? It must have, right? How'd they get there? Pusha McCurdy says Naruto with acid reflux, or Ichigo with carpal tunnel. This is honestly just making me try to scale Naruto versus Ichigo. Is it controversial? I think Ichigo was stronger. But I hate comparing series to series, because, like, it's just too tricky. Because, like, different series, it's hard to explain, but, like, different series rate things differently. Like, some series will be like, oh yeah, a lot of characters can move faster than light, so it's not impressive. But, like, very few characters can, like, lift a mountain, so that's impressive. And then other series will be like, whoa, everyone can lift mountains, but no one can move faster than, like, how do I explain this? So, the simple way of saying is, like, the standards for different series are random. In that, like, light speed can be, like, treated at its fullest in some series, like, oh, like, if Flash moves at light speed and punches someone at light speed in the DC universe, that causes a tremendous amount of damage, okay? Or, like, moving faster than light's, like, I don't know, like, the force associated with that is a big deal. Whereas, like, in One Piece, if Kizaru kicks someone at the speed of light, it's not, like, a big deal, or it's not treated like a big deal. Here's an easier example, okay, bullets. So One Piece characters can, like, do all sorts of crazy shit, right? Like, Shanks could probably, like, I don't know, like physically he could split the sky and shit, right? But I feel like if Shanks or Zoro or, like, you know, like, a lot of these strong characters got hit by a bullet, they would still probably bleed, which is weird, but it's the way One Piece is written. Whereas, like, a series like Kenichi, where the characters are all much weaker, like street level, like they can break some cars and shit, or like even trucks or some big stuff, but like nothing crazy like One Piece. But then bullets are not treated like a big deal in that series. Why am I off on this tangent? I guess what it is to say is that basically like some series treat things differently. Like some series are like, fire's a really dangerous ability, but then other series it's like, no, fire's really nothing. Other series it's like being able to dodge bullets or react to bullets is a big deal. Other series it's not. Like, simple way of putting it, like Bleach characters can shoot beams, like Seros, right? Sero attacks, right? One Piece, shooting a beam is a huge deal. In Bleach, it's standard. But then in One Piece, like, characters that could, like, physically lift, like, giant icebergs or, like, push apart buildings or toss buildings around are very common. Whereas in Bleach, I think that's less common. You get what I'm saying? So, like, it's just how the series wants to treat certain feats. Long way of saying I think it's hard to scale stuff like Naruto versus Bleach. I think Ichigo is stronger, maybe. Where are we at? Saboti is S? Oh, Saboti's S. Alright, solid. Cool. Ishnaveen says, imagine if Vanderdecken was a part of CP0. We're still on this Vanderdecken ship? Alright. One touch and he can Amazon Prime Robin straight to the world government. That is hilarious. That's true. Keep up the amazing work, Morge. Thanks, Ish. Your videos help get through my PhD. Oh, congrats, dude. I'm sure you're going to make it. Your PhD in, let me guess, science. I don't know what your PhD is in, but I'm sure it's going to come along quite nicely. Take inventory says, my favorite part of Vanderdecken is how there have been 9 of them. Dude, what is going on? The Vanderdecken obsession. We never see Decken and Joy Boy together in one scene. Thoughts? Alright, so if we're going to put together the pieces of the full theory, so we've never seen Vanderdecken and Joy Boy together. Many generations of Vanderdecken have obviously happened. Okay? So, what that would lead me to conclude is that Vanderdecken was very possibly the original Joy Boy. Original Vanderdecken was Joy Boy, right? And the ancient kingdom disappeared, most likely because he sent it to the sun to keep things safe. And that is why he's known as the sun god, Nika. Right? And actually this all fits together pretty nicely. So Vanderdecken sent the ancient kingdom to the sun. He is the sun god Nika. And because, the will of D, the will of Dawn, right? The people of D, they're able to survive in the heat of the sun because they are the people of the sun. They're the people of Dawn, all right? The full will of D, right, involves essentially the one generation of Vanderdecken, like, way down the line, carrying the centuries of history on his back, going to the sun, sending the ancient kingdom back to the earth, right, once the world government has been dethroned, so that the ancient kingdom and the original people can return back to earth, and the regime can begin again. So I think that's the full theory. That was a pretty good theory for, like, such a stupid idea. Not a pretty good theory, but I think I made a few things connect there that it actually weirdly fit together. All right, where are we at? MF Bond 1 says, Fishman Island needs S tier for being the origin birthing place of our god Vanderdecken, right? What the fuck? That man can throw planets. A legend. Good God. This is Vanderdecken shit. Ishnaveen says, lol, immunology. Oh, we're going to need some of that stuff with all of this COVID going around, am I right? Rajesh Narayan says, Japanese Taz Scholar versus Chainsmoker Makenyu. Not going to lie. Look, I would put my money on Taz Scholar beating up Makenyu. Even regardless of the Japanese or Chainsmoker stuff, because I think he posted some stuff on Twitter of him practicing some Sanji kicks. And, that seems about right. Yeah, I put my money on him. Alright, I think we're caught up.
Are we caught up? Oh no, Martin Castro says, looking at this island list, there's 2 missing. Diamonds Island and Island of... haha, nice try. Nice try. Alright, where are we at? Skypea. Skypea, easy S. I don't think we gotta vote on that one, right? Easy S. I don't even know what this is. Put this in D. What is this? Alright, let's at least try and figure out what this is. It's Syrup Village. Syrup Village. Alright, easy D. Thriller Bark. Kind of tricky. I personally put it in A or B. What do you guys think? Give me Thriller Bark. You know, there was a time that I would have fallen for that immediately. You know, that Sugon. But not today. I've progressed far too much. Thriller Bark, S, A. Syrup Village get done dirty? How? It's just Syrup Village. It's like the most basic thing ever. Thriller Bark is a ship, bro. It's a ship that moves an island around. It's different. Alright, you guys figure out Thriller Bark. This time I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick. Make it a controversial one so that you guys have something to talk about while I'm gone. Better be S? I don't know. You guys figure that out? Alright. Oh, Thriller Bark seems controversial. Oh, fuck, I forgot how to unplug my mouse. Alright, let's take a look. Is a moon an island? The moon's not even on this list. Thriller Bark's tricky. Alright, looks like most people put it in A at the end of the day. Alright. A, seems fair to me. Seems about right. Torino Kingdom, I'm going to put that in C. Because I think it's a little more interesting than these, which are just standard. Not fleshed out enough to be here, or here, or here. Concept is cool, but nothing crazy. Whiskey Peak, I'm going to give that a C as well. Impel Down, I refuse to rank. It's not an island. Alright. That's it. So now we have to vote on the best island. I think we did a pretty good job here. I actually think that this is one of the better tier lists of all time because it feels kind of right. Right? Like, it's not too many things. It's not too many different items, so we didn't get all over the place. We got Whole Cake, Ennis Lobby, Water 7, Zabodi, and Skypea at the very top. I think all fantastic locations, all deserve to be here. Wano, Zoe, Fishman, Long Bring Along the Land, fan favorite. Punk Hazard, Thriller Bark. Down here, Alabasta, understandable. Amazon Lily, Dressrosa, Drum Kingdom, Germa, Goa Kingdom, Little Garden. Then here, things that were maybe just good concepts but not fleshed out quite enough, or not really good concepts. So Boyan Archipelago, cool but not fleshed out enough. Baltigo, maybe should be in D, but we'll leave it here for the moment. Jaya, yep, Kamabaka, Kurigata, Torino, Whiskey Peak, and then basically just standard stuff. Usual villages or towns, nothing fantastical or interesting about them, and nothing really fleshed out too much about them, not too much detail here. Marine Fort I could see being higher. I could see Logtown being higher, but I don't feel like messing with the list at this point. So, I think this is actually one of the better lists that we've ever made, if I do say so myself. People are still complaining, but that's okay. You want to see that? For sure. I don't want to spam too much, says Cushion. Cushion spams a lot, though, so I don't know what he's talking about. MF Bombs once has confirmed Vanderdecken has thrown more off stream. Alright, I think that it is time to do the final poll. The final poll. Now, here's the tricky part. Fuck. I can only do 4 options in the final poll, though. Because if I do straw poll, then as we know, it turns out rigged. And I can't do the usual, this or this. Pick S, A, B, C, or lower, because it doesn't really work like that. So let's just do one-on-one face-offs real quick. We'll do Whole Cake versus Any Slavi. Alright, we'll do Whole Cake versus Any Slavi. How about that? Maptron says, Island where Sanji starved mid-diff Dressrosa. Oh, what a classic, wonderful island. It literally didn't even have vegetation. That was the main issue, to be honest. Impel Down cannot be... No, Impel Down's not an island. It just doesn't... It's not an island. Alright. We're going to do Whole Cake versus Any Slavi. We'll do it a little bit one at a time. Build the suspense. Whole Cake versus Any Slavi. Whole Cake. I feel like I know what's going to win. I feel like it's not going to be close. Yeah, I mean, and I would agree. I would put Whole Cake above Any Slavi for sure. I mean, I don't know if that's what's going to win, but I see that's what people are typing. I would put Whole Cake above Any Slavi. I think, okay, how do I say this? I think for me personally, I'd be like, yeah, Any Slavi had more of a wow factor for me. But I think I would still put Whole Cake above it at the end of the day. It's just a cooler island. Whole Cake was actually a really, really, really cool island. People didn't like the Seducing Woods. I love the Seducing Woods. Seducing Woods were actually one of my favorite sections of Whole Cake while we were there. It just felt, I don't know, I guess people were complaining that it wasn't, not a lot of plot momentum going on there, or it stalled too much, but I actually really, really like the Seducing Woods. It just felt like simple class. I feel like Whole Cake and the Seducing Woods in particular was the early sections of Whole Cake Island include, so while they traveled through Totoland, and when they hit the Seducing Woods, I have actually a tremendous amount of fondness for that section of the story because it felt like classic One Piece adventuring again, where it doesn't have to be crazy stuff for the plot or anything too dense or intense, but just traveling through an interesting location, characters being funny, zany, bouncing off each other. They've got a mission, they're finding some mysterious stuff, can't really make sense of it. And there's some action, right? Cracker, I actually really like the Cracker fight and appearance because, the reveal that Cracker, I did not expect Luffy to be fighting a Yonko commander, that suddenly or that quickly into the arc, but it felt right, like an early mini-boss. And then I think Cracker's reveal that he was a guy inside a guy, pause, but, Cracker was, what's the word, it's like the guy in Naruto, who's got, the puppets that he... Even remembers something... Sasori? I forget. But, Cracker, his Biscuit Soldiers, revealing that his true form was actually inside the Biscuit Soldier form.
I thought the cracker fight was actually very entertaining. I don't know. I really like the Seducing Woods section. It's just like the whole Toddleland through Seducing Woods section of the Whole Cake. I liked for reasons that I think a lot of people didn't like because I don't know. You just really got to enjoy the vibrant nature of One Piece and kind of the world that Oda draws you through. Felt very adventurous. I liked them running through the Seducing Woods. I liked them running into the alligator. I liked them running into Pound. I liked Brûlé showing up. I liked Luffy and Nami being separated. I liked Cracker as a fitting little boss and bit of excitement for this section, someone that Luffy got to fight early on. First example of seeing Luffy versus Yonko Commander. I really liked Whole Cake overall. Enough ranting about Whole Cake. And then I think Whole Cake Island overall, the more I look back at it, the more I really like that arc. I think still my favorite arc of the post-time skip. And one of my favorite arcs in One Piece overall. Yep. I think that makes sense. Alright, then let's do this final poll. Final poll. Best island. Because now we kind of eliminated any slobby, right? So we can kind of put them all just into one big poll. Whole Cake Island. Water 7. This is hard though. I'm gonna do it one at a time. Let's do Whole Cake. We'll do it like winner faces next. Whole Cake Island versus Water 7. Whole Cake Island versus Water 7. Morge, what type of cake do you like? I like chocolate cake a lot. I like chocolate a lot. I like red velvet. But honestly, I think I like cakes as long as they don't have fruits in them. I generally don't like cakes that have fruits in them. Not because I don't like fruits. But just keep them out of the cake. I just prefer cakes which are like, you know, just give me the baked good with whatever extra stuff like chocolate, vanilla, custard, whatever. Yeah, I realize it's unfair to any slobby California penguin. I see it. We'll do it one at a time. Ish Naveen says, let's face it, Whole Cake has smoothie. Enough said. These are the type of people getting PhDs in our world today. But this may as well be the final poll. They're the two most popular. Is that the case? Because Sabaody was overwhelmingly S tier. And Skypea, I know, is also... This is a really tight poll. Get your votes in. I'm going to end voting in 10, 9, 8, 7... 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Last chance. 3, 2, 1. Kushin Super Chat. Vanderdecken with diarrhea versus Vanderdecken with constipation. Vanderdecken with constipation. I maintain that it's much harder. You can do most of your regular stuff when you're constipated. It just kind of sucks. Diarrhea, that holds you back. This is tough. This is damn. All right, so Water 7. I'm just going to kind of order it as we go along. So Water 7, okay. All right, then how about Water 7 versus Sabaody? Actually, I'm kind of ordering it as we go along. So let me do Sabaody versus Whole Cake. Let me do Sabaody versus Whole Cake. I was typing in chat. I kind of want to see how the top 5 plays out. The part here says Diarrhea Vanderdecken throws poop though. Yeah, actually never mind. I was totally wrong. Diarrhea Vanderdecken takes it. Take inventory, says Morge, please let me give you money. I want to give you all my money. Okay, thanks, dude. Mostly you just ask Vanderdecken questions. So, why don't you just chat your normal Vanderdecken questions, and if I see them, I'll respond to them. I feel bad seeing you throw all your money at these Vanderdecken debates. Damn, Whole Cake takes it just barely, it looks like, but maybe Saboti pulls it back. I don't know. No, Whole Cake's pulling a little ahead. I feel like anytime I say something, I influence it a little bit. So I don't want to say too much. Regina Ryan says, Morge, I have a PhD. Yeah, right. Yeah, like someone gave you a PhD. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. All right, I'm going to end the poll on this in 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Kiavash Paravizi says, man, these are hard to vote. I 100% agree. I don't know what I would vote for these because these are really, really difficult. It's hard to get to like a top one because so many locations are good. I would put Whole Cake above Saboti as well. I'd put Whole Cake above Saboti. Then let me do Eni's Lobby versus Saboti. I still haven't read the super chat from last week I've been putting here. It says Phantom Greyfire. What's the super chat? Tell me here. What's the super chat? What's the super chat? I'm ready to read. You didn't read the second part, King? What's the second part? Alright. Not when you're backlogged for a whole month. That was the second part? That was it? Wait, let me throw the poll while I read these. I'll catch up. Miss Super Chat from 1031 stream. Thanks, Phantom Greyfire. I'm sorry. By Thomas Kaz. Usopp getting Mjolnir is the best theory. Oh, that's a cool theory. That is a cool theory. I think that's a cool theory. Thomas Kaz, if you're here, I think it's a cool theory. I'm sorry I did not get to it last time. What are we doing? Saboti versus Eni's Lobby? Hello? Let me type. Yeah. So by the way, that means that the final option is either it's going to come down to Skypiea or Water. Like Skypiea is the only one that can dethrone Water 7 at this point. I do think that's a cool theory. Definitely. All right, what am I supposed to read from Rajesh? What does Rajesh want me to read? What is going on? Rajesh the doctor. I have a pretty... that's more like it, Rajesh. He doesn't have a PhD. I mean, he does. He has a pretty huge D. That makes sense. That makes more sense. That's more in character. Thomas Cass is not here. Rest in peace. Thomas Cass will probably never return after I never answered that question in 1031. I'm sorry, Thomas. I hope that in a future chat, if I see Thomas in a future chat, I will 100% be like, hey, Thomas, I like that theory about Mjolnir. I think Thomas super chatted that after Morge said no more super chats. That's why. I mean, it's not like I would intentionally be like, oh, you super chatted after the deadline. Like, normally I'm like, okay, I'll still answer this. But the reason I usually say that is just because I'm winding down, so I'm not going to be like if I'm hitting end stream or something like that, then maybe like I'll miss something or I don't know. And like I don't want to keep going on to things and stuff like that. Wait, why do we... Blackleg asks a great question. He says, wait, why do we like Saboti so much? It's just bubbles? Question mark. That is actually a great question. Great question. Why do we like Saboti so much? That's kind of funny to me. It's just like, hold on, everyone. Why do we like this place so much? British Narayan says, each all-star addicted to opioids or stimulants. So you're saying who would be addicted to what? Or who would win if they're addicted to one or the other? I think Queen is addicted to stimulants. I think Jack and King are addicted to opioids, if I had to pick one. Alright. Oh, dude, Saboti's tight. Alright. I will give 10 seconds to get your voting in for Saboti and Eni's Lobby, because this one is the closest one we've ever had so far. So Saboti or Eni's Lobby, 10 seconds. Saboti's up by a hair. 10, 9, 8, 7, 5, 4, 2, 1, 0. All right.
All right. Looks like Saboti takes it. Yeah, it was really tight though. Really, really, really tight. So at the moment we got this as our setup. Well, move. What the fuck? Alright. So, Skype is the one I've been holding off on. I could do it one by one and be like, okay, Skype versus Any Slobby, Skype versus Saboti, Skype versus Whole Cake, Skype versus Water 7. But I don't want this stream to take forever. I'm going to do Skype versus Whole Cake first, and then if it passes that, I'll do Skype versus Water 7. Nah, I'll just put it up against Water 7 first, and we'll see what happens. And then I might do, depending on how things shake out, if needed. I'll give you my opinions after the poll goes through. I don't want to influence as I normally do. Rajesh says, bro, when are we going to get that lagless stream? This is lagless. This is it. What more do you want? How much less lag do you want? Alright. I thought this was going to be a little closer. Clyde says Skypea is just some clouds. I kind of agree. Bart here says, damn, you guys like Skypea, huh, you cloud sexuals? Aiden Rink says, Land of God greater than Mod Diff Watertown. Jinho Wong says Skypea easily. Sam R says Water 7 is literally Venice. Chill. I think it's hard. Just go to Italy, says Sam R. Alright, I'm gonna end it in 6 seconds, alright? 6 seconds. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And Skypea takes it. So, we have, right? Skypea takes it. So I was at 57%, 56%. All right. Skypea takes it. So the final rankings for the top 5 were Skypea, then Water 7, Whole Cake, respectable 3rd, Saboti 4th, Any Slobby 5th. I think that this is actually a really solid top 5. I would personally put Saboti a little lower and move Any Slobby up a little bit to 4th. That's just me, though. I think between Water 7 and Skypea, my views on it, I personally put Water 7 a little above Skypea just because I do think that, they're both really, really cool concepts. I think you can say that, Water 7, it's just Venice, etc., but I think it's the full setup. The full setup that it's a city built on top of another city. It's a fountain. The waterways are different than Venice, so it got a little more creative with kind of like it's like Venice, but he scaled it up to a more fantastical concept of Venice, right? I just feel like, how do I say this? When people say Skypea is just clouds, it is, that's not fair, but it is kind of just if we imagined a sea in the sky, it is a really cool concept on its own. But it's kind of Skypea is basically the prototypical vision of heaven that most people have, right? You get up there, it's lots of clouds, angel gates, right? Everyone's walking around on clouds with angel wings on their backs and everything like that. So it's an imagery that I think we've seen before, you'll see before in other media. Water 7, I think for me personally, I think this visual of Water 7 as this giant fountain city with water streaming down, the way I think the way that he took the idea of Venice and turned it into something so beautiful and I guess One Piece specific, I don't think you see this anywhere else really. And I think also, you can say Skypea had a lot of nuances with the dials and everything like that, which I really like. I think it had a very fleshed out culture, especially if you get down to the nitty gritty of the lore, God's Land, everything that was going on there, Upper Yard, etc. the history. I don't want to count the moon stuff because I feel like that's getting a little too far away from what the essence of Skypiea was. But I think Water 7, it's easily forgotten. Like, you can get into the nitty-gritty of that really well as well. Like the Yagara bulls, the elevator system that they had, the shipwright building, the shipbuilding culture that they had, that they built their city around, the Aqua Laguna, how it's destroying the city, how there's an older city at the bottom, newer city, so it's continuously being built up. And I'd say the sea train is honestly really, really, really big. Like, the sea train's a really cool concept. Yes, Hayao Miyazaki did it first, right? Yeah, he was first. But I still like the way it was incorporated into the Water 7 storyline, like the need for the sea train and the lore behind it and why it had to be created, as well as, I think, even just the minor details, like, you know, they have water, they eat mizu meat there, right? Like, you got to know what type of foods they like to eat, right? I don't know. I have a personal preference for Water 7. I would put it above Skypiea personally, just because it feels a little, to me, it feels like the most One Piece location, like the most unique location to One Piece. But I think there's no problem with Skypiea being number one. I think most people, yeah, I view that as a very fair decision. Anyway, I have no complaints with this. I think this is close to what my own personal list would look like. I think it's pretty good. And let me make sure that I'm not missing any super chats. No super chats from here on, by the way. Let me just check I'm not missing any. G8, forgot about that. Bro, it's the sky and the sea. Yeah, no, Skypiea is really, really cool. Really, really cool. I'm not trying to knock Skypiea. I'm just debating between 1 and 2. Like, it's 1 and 2. Like, they're two things. I guess the whole concept all together, like the white sea, the white sea, all of it together, the sea and the sky, like that, if you consider the entirety of the concept, you put Skypiea number 1, no doubt. I'd say just looking at individual islands, I personally put Water 7 slightly above. MF Bond says, you can say this island is just blank to any island. That is true. That is actually very true. Is there any exceptions to that? I think long ring, long land. That's one of the reasons I really advocate for it. I don't think you can say this island is just any island to that. Because the whole sentence would have to be pretty long, right? Isn't that kind of funny? It'd have to be like, long ring, long land, that's just an island that, what? That everything is longer? Fuck, I guess you can just simplify it to that. Nah, it's unique. Long ring, long land's really cool. Zoe's just, yeah, I guess you can kind of just relegate all these to a singular descriptor and it would work. But you know what? That's where our personal biases come in. All right. So I'm going to call the stream on that. Video comes out tomorrow as usual. And I thought this was a pretty good tier list. So I'm glad we did the tier list again. This was fun. I will talk to you guys